Hello and welcome once again to this themed month. And this month, as probably noticed, the new theme on my channel, guys, is Dark Month. As it's October and at the end of the month is Halloween. So if you haven't already been checking out last week's videos, guys, we did a picture for Nicole Jean, and that picture was called. So I think that something's just sorting out. I am live today, guys, as always, so there may be a few technical issues. The music may go down, but last week I noticed there was a hell of a lot of different issues with the music. So what I've done this week, guys, is I've gone back to my previous way of sorting out my music. And instead of having music playing, guys, I'm going to be listening to some more Comic Historian because it seems to help me draw a lot better. And as this week, we've got Angels and Demons, or Blut Angels and Demons. And if you haven't already checked out my other Blue Angels picture, I will be showing you that. I will be showing you that very shortly. But again, we will be listening to some Comic Historian and listening to Batman Dark Metal, or Metal. I think it's called DC Metal. But yeah, we're going to be listening to that playlist, guys, from the beginning to the end. So if you like to just listen to the comics, tune in for that. But otherwise, I'll give you a link down below where to find them. And this week we've got another design, which is going to be a demon or an angel. I'm not sure yet, but we will be drawing wings either way. As it says in the description, guys, tune in every day this week. It will be streamed just after 1 o'clock, depending on what time I get really this week, to draw some more for you guys. But without further ado, let's jump in. I've just had my dinner, so I'm going to probably burp quite a bit. I'll get that playlist going in a moment, but I want to sort my desk and show you what we did last week before I get started this week. And as you can see on the thumbnail as well, guys, that is one of my very, very, very first pictures that I drew and then, sketched and painted. So if you guys are a fan of that, they are available for anybody that does want one. I can go and scan that in and send it off for you guys in the post if you guys do want to check it out. But otherwise, bear with me. I'm going to flip the camera around and hopefully you guys will enjoy this. But while I do, I'm going to flip that around, flip it down. Check that one out, guys. That is what I've already done it wasn't last week, that was a couple of years ago I did that one, guys. And that was as its theme this month, theme of this month is Dark Month. Again, it's Halloween at the end of the month, so we're going to be doing a little bit more about that. But stay tuned, bear with me. I'm just going to go and get the playlist ready for Dark Month. There we go, he started. Getting everything sorted in the background. So let me know what you think of that, guys, if you like it. Again, if you want to print that one, just ask me in the comment section below, or you can come over to Instagram. I'm Blut084, BLUT084 Art and Games, here every day on YouTube, occasionally on Mixer, which will be uploaded very soon, guys, and Instagram, BLUT084 Art and Games. If you want to find me over there, check out some old pictures and you get more of an update what I'm getting up to, guys. That seems a bit of a Space Hulk. What's all that about? So I've got playlists in the background. I like to listen to a comic or two from Comic Historian while I draw. As last week, it just seemed a bit too dark for me. I know it's Dark Month and I should be theming on that way, but the music just seemed a bit was doing my head in, and it wouldn't play every time. So I'm going to be listening to Comic Historian again, guys. As I did see that when I did my Spider-Man draws, guys, you guys actually enjoyed listening to Comic Story as well. So why not we both listen to it and enjoy it? And as it's Dark Month, we're going to be listening to Comic Historian Metal Event. and it's dark metal. If you haven't already checked it out, guys, go and check them out. But we're going to be doing another drawing this week, and it's all themed on wings this week, guys. As you can see there's bone wings, and I do like to draw wings. Just getting my picture here. See, I like to draw wings, and I like to create things. This is Blue Angel, my own creation, and this week I'm going to be doing some more wings and designing another character. But again, this is my own personal character. This is Blut Angel. I'm not sure if it's Blue or Blut, but his whole MO is he came from something. Still haven't got really a backstory for him, but I have many images for him, and I like to create and do this character over and over again until I really refine him. But he always has wings. He always wears blue, and he is a superhero or hero of the dark arts. His emblem is an egg because Blut, obviously. Blut is a French word, so go and check that one out, guys. It actually means something in French, and it has a lot to do with eggs. So go and check out what that word means, or you can come over to Instagram and I'll explain that a bit more over there. Maybe I can post a link. But in the previous weeks, we've done Spider-Man, as we've had Spider-Man to do. We've had Spider-Man games playing, which we'll be we'll be playing that later on. So check out that link and hit the reminder button so you know that we'll be playing some more tonight, as it's Miles' first day in the feast. And that was another one. We listened to some more comic story on this one, guys, and got a little bit more inspired by the punk aspect. But then we went and did a drawing last week, and you can see every step of every drawing that I do, guys, from these two pictures here, from the sketching side where you do the bones, or hashtag bones, where you do the face and the sketchal and the pose, and then you move on to the more refining of the sketch, and then we go a bit further on and we then ink it, and after inking it we then take this picture and then take it to my critter file. But that was last week, guys, and this week we are going to be creating something new, another angel or demon. Where I've had another request from Nicole Jean to do one of her characters, so I'll be doing that again this week, guys. Just getting everything sorted so you guys can see my page again. This is my left hand. For some reason, it's the camera's flipped everything. I don't know how to change that. So when you see it on Instagram, you'll see the true picture. So again, don't forget to go over there to Instagram. I'm Blut084, BLUT084, Art and Games. But again, guys, let me know if you can hear that playlist in the background, because I would prefer it to have no dead air. And I don't really want to listen to the playlist that I was listening to last week, which was music, because they kept skitting and they kept breaking down and they did my head in and I couldn't deal with them. So I'm changing it back to the comic story.
So Batman tells him, I need to do something, and I'll need you to run scans and some molecules that I've extracted from a subject. The subject is too volatile to be on the loose, so he was.
So hopefully you can't hear that in the background, guys.
He opens the
I'm
door
just going to get my pencils and starting the first sketch for today.
Inside, an egg-shaped machine with a diamond on it appears. Back in the Batcave, Hal lights the way in the secret room.
But again, guys, I do themed videos for anybody that does want a themed video or wants to learn a specific thing. So if you do want to learn anything, guys, don't forget you can ask me in the comments section down below or in the live chat today. Hopefully we'll be joined by a few people today, but if we're not, it doesn't really worry me. It has all to do with watching back, because we're here on YouTube.
This doesn't make any sense. Why would it? A mystery.
But as always, we will be using my mechanical pencil, which is really good. I'm not sure how much lead I've actually got left in there, and if it does run out, it's no biggie. I'll go back to my original pencil, which I found again. It's my H2 pencil. I do have my other ones there, so give me a second. I will go and find those, and because they're in my other room.
Wonder Woman's bracers. And the voice continues. It all started with a tooth, a metal tooth that could bring back the dead. You see, the metal shouldn't be able to do that. Then Batman had to know what it was and what was in it. So he extracted something from it, a strange substance that he had never seen before, that he couldn't explain. You can feel the power from it, right? That power consumed him. What was that strange metal? And what was its connection to the Court of the Owls? He formed a Black Ops team, the Outsiders, to go out and find any information on
for what I need to do them for.
Hal's been tinkering with his ring.
I do have another one in my pencil pack.
I've been all over the galaxy and my ring is never.
I just don't want to be using too much of a dark pencil for the sketch stage.
I've been dying for a chance to see you both face to face. We're all connected, you see. I was hoping someone.
Just making sure everything's good, make sure everything's clear.
So lonely down here.
So listen to that playlist while I do.
Container holding green liquid. The next part is about magnesium. It has to do with the metal. It's in fuzzy. And Duke realizes what's going on. No. He simply says that while Hal is freaking out asking, "Who are you?" "Oh, you see, Batman started to put the pieces together like I did." Hal and Duke look in front of them to see a massive door, and the voice continues, "If you two are so very brave, just open the door." Back in Carter Hall's story, he explained that he studied the nymph metal for years, trying to unlock its secrets. But this was something far beyond his understanding, so he dug deeper and deeper until he was able to put together the mystery. It all began with the 3 tribes, or rather, 4 tribes. The hidden Bat tribe was something else, something bigger, something beyond his control, and he needed to know more. Over at the Fortress of Solitude, Batman arrived calling out Clark. You see, a long time ago, Batman locked something away in the Fortress of Solitude, something that he didn't want to have access to, and he didn't want Superman questioning, so Superman agreed to lock it away. In order to open that lock, Batman brought along Mr. Miracle, one of the new gods, and someone with the ability to open any lock. Once he opened up the door, Batman walked into the room.
Okay, like I said, guys,
was a giant
use my mechanical pencil I'm using. My H2 pencil, sorry, 2H pencil, my H pencil, which they are very good for shading and sketching with, but to get the basic outline, I will be using my mechanical pencil to get closer to what I want to be first before I go in any more with these 2 pencils here. And as always, you need that rubber to take away those mistakes. Because we're in pencil, you can take as many mistakes away as you like, but as soon as we get to the point where I think I'm happy with it, we will use my fine line inks, and I'm thinking about getting some more fine line ink pens, guys, so we can do a bit more of a fine line art.
All of that was just a cruel joke. There were just a couple of pieces of Batman's puzzle, like me.
And if it's too loud in the background, guys, do definitely let me know. But because you obviously need to be able to hear me, but I won't talk too much. I'll just tell you a little bit, as this is more of me going to be sketching and drawing while you watch and listen. As I've already done a couple of videos to tell you how to do framework. I'll tell you a little bit more later on when we get into wings and other things.
So she hands him a sun blade, a sword imbued with the power of the sun.
I should be having some new glasses because, as you can see, these are absolutely knackered. And I've got to use a bit of fucking gum to get it sorted out. This week, hopefully this week I'll have my new pair of glasses come, so I can see a lot more better, because these are not the best anymore. Right, so we have Angels and Demons. I'm going to turn that down a smidge.
As the field hits Duke, Hal reaches 4-minute shots to both of them. I haven't had much fun in ages. That's how it started, you know. A bit of fun.
Joker laugh.
I cut my own face off and then I'd kill his whole family. Get rid of the kids. Rekindle the romance. The old flame. But as it turns out, he likes the brats. So here I was, tumbling into the deepest corner of the Batcave, and splash! I have to admit, I thought I was a goner until I woke up in the dark, and this shimmering green metal was running all over me, stitching me back together. That's when I saw it, towering over me.
Okay, so we're doing a basic sketch today, making sure my pencil's good.
Civilization, the bat behind
The skeletons are basic shape. I am not going to do any great detail at the moment. And if you can't see that, guys, do let me know. But again, it is very faint that I'm using it. And we will be doing wings as well. So I've got to make sure I've got left space for those.
You did this. I don't know how you did it. And the Joker leaps at him. Then you are listening! He pushes Duke and Hal through the field and he falls onto them. It's still in me! Listen, you! All around us! The lights all go out and the Joker smiles, that twisted, evil, demented smile. Oh, I know how this story's going to end because it all happened before! Back in the journal, Carter's story continues. He He spoke to the immortals and how they knew the tribes of men, but how they also knew of the arrival of a strange metal that had the ability to tear the reality of the universe. And it was a
He said, I've had a request again, so I'm going to do that this week.
Carter and Shira didn't believe it, but they found the painting.
And today's only going to be the basic sketch.
World, each telling the same story. They spoke of the hawk.
I don't know how far I'll get with this today. I haven't got any reference image, so I'm just sort of spitting ideas at the moment.
The demon took the signal of the great and terrible bat.
I'll grab one up on my computer in a moment or two.
That version of Carter and Shira died fighting it back, and they shut the door between the dimensions. Birds and bats, forever at war. The immortals told us to destroy the metal, but Carter wasn't going to quit on a mystery. He needed to know more, and he chose to challenge it using the wizard's lightning dagger. As they opened the abyss, they knew the mistake as the eyes looked back at them, waiting for something or someone. Meanwhile, Batman continues his journey looking for the information and the tools that he needs, and he comes across Talia al Ghul. She hands him a dagger, one with the power of the lightning and the markings of Shazam! Back in the Batcave, the Joker runs into it, and Hal and Duke give chase, finding him with a crowbar trying to destroy a machine that Batman has there. Hal asks, where's the joke in all of this? And Joker, without his trademark grin, looks at him. This isn't funny! And he cracks Hal across the jaw with his crowbar, asking him, don't you understand? This is what your alien boss has sent you here to stop! If he uses this machine, it'll be the beginning of the end! Duke grabs the Joker, pushing him down, and he begins to punch the Joker as he smiles. Don't you see, Duke? Don't you understand why Batman recruited you? There's something different about you. There's something in your blood that made Batman take notice. Something that he couldn't understand or see. Something that is in both you and your mom. Something. Them. He. T. They. You're the signal, and I can't have that. So I'm gonna kill you now, Duke. Duke kicks the Joker, and he throws himself backwards, and he falls over the cliff. The Joker looks over the side of it to see where Duke went, and the signal goes dark. And now, to write the grand finale to this soaring tale, so that I can go back to the good old days. Bats and clouds, not bats and birds. Hal calls out to the Joker in the Batplane with Duke on the wing. Hey, Joker, even without my ring, I'm a decorated member of the United States Air Force, and your story time is over. Back in the journal, Carter explains that he left the journal in the hands of someone loyal to the birds. And with that, he walks to his own end, into the multiverse to stop this, hoping someone will read this and not follow. Back in the Batcave, the Joker is pinned, telling them, free me! I'm trying to be the good guy here!
Right, let's pull up a few images of angels and demons and things like that. I'm going to get some nice pictures of angels.
Jordan, Batman calls out as he walks in. What the hell are you doing in my cave? Of course, Hal and Duke want to know what's going on, so Batman explains.
But listen to that comic story and playlist in the background. It will run for about 2 hours, so it's the full story of Dark Metal. DC Batman Dark Metal. It is absolutely brilliant story.
That would allow Batman to live on forever. But before he could finish it,
and it's coming from Comic Story, and guys, so go and check them out. We'll leave a link, if I remember, down below.
But something happened. When he entered the machine, he saw versions of himself across the entire multiverse.
And if the stream does drop out, guys, it is because I'm faffing with the computer. But if it does, I'll come straight back.
A metal that he came across in every facet of his life. Duke looks at him. Joker said you brought me in as an experiment. The Joker lies, Duke. I brought you in here because I wanted to see what you were
this Sunday, we had something else, another Telltale game. It's quite an old one, but I think it was an absolute brilliant choice for this month, as it's Dark Month. We're doing some bit more Halloween-y. So go and check that one out, guys. That was the previous stream yesterday. So all you got to do is scroll down, put me in the corner, and scroll on down.
Powers and constructs, Duke reconstructs the very machine that Batman used to bring himself back to life. He sits in it with all the artifacts here, and he sees into the darkness again. And as he collapses, Hal and Duke run over to see if he's okay. He tells them, I don't understand. All I saw was darkness. But deep down, 3,000 miles beneath Gotham, something awakens. It calls out that he did it. He stared into the abyss. The seal is broken and the dark days are over. As the portal opens, we see inside something dark, evil, twisted. Something of the Bat Clan and demons. Something that should not exist. The Dark Knights are coming, and with them, the true father of Batman will arrive. 50.
You don't know anything about fear.
Well, that's an advert, guys. Ignore that. Probably for stupid Assassin's Creed or something like the new Assassin's. Oh no, it's for Tomb Raider, I think. Oh wow. Oh, that means I gotta turn it off. Oh no, just cause 4. Hey, hey! Yes, please.
Years ago, a lizard is running across the desert, and when he runs past, there are 3 symbols drawn into the sand. Symbols of 3 ancient tribes. You see, lost to history. It's a story.
Ooh.
A story of how in these lands, during the Age of Stone, there were 3 great tribes of man. Tribes of the wolf, of the bear, and of the bird. They all dreamt of discovery, growing their people and excelling in life. There was a dark tribe, the 4th tribe that no one ever spoke of. And when they arrived, it brought the age of metal. The Justice League now stands before Mongol on his new war world. Mongol chuckles at the defeated heroes in their various sets of armor holding their weapons. Batman is the one to bring it up. Mongol was under watch by the Braillians after he teamed up with Zod to fight you, Superman. How did he build a war world? Superman tells him, focus. It doesn't matter. We have to get off this world first. Mongol explains that the armor that he has given them is weakening them. Superman has made out of 1,000 crushed red suns. The Flash's boots are vibranium domination boots from the Dominators. And Wonder Woman is wearing a piece of armor infused with venom from a Gorgon to weaken her. A few toys and the heroes need to fight for real, huh? The toy man sitting next to Mongol as his prisoner just agrees. And Mongol tells them, it's time to go to war. The giant robots enter the battlefield to fight the League. Wonder Woman calls out a formation and the battle begins. Aquaman holds back one of the monsters while Cyborg gets pinned to the ground. Hal calls out to Aquaman, telling him, help me get this gauntlet off. The mini black hole inside is absorbing my ring's power. And Aquaman tells him he can't help him. The sleeves that he's wearing are made up of the fires of Apocalypse. The heat is dampening his abilities. But he suggests that they try and have the creatures break the armor off of themselves. So Superman runs in using the shield that he has, trying to get them to break the breastplate. But he quickly notices that they avoid the armor and go right for the flesh. But Batman has an idea. He looks at the beast and he pulls his jaws apart and he looks deep inside. You know what he finds there? What's hidden inside of the monster here?
Just looking up online at the moment, guys, because I completely forgot to actually get some before
he
I
calls
did.
out, everyone follow my lead. The beast has tentacles that come out and they wrap around Bruce.
Before I started today, so I'm just sort of looking for a few images.
And they call out that they need to help Batman.
Sort of help me go do what I want to do.
But Batman yells back, no, I said
I
follow
want to
my
put it
lead,
in.
damn it. There are symbols in their mouths. Activate them. Let them eat you. And this is exactly what the Justice League does. And as they are each eaten, Cyborg calls out, you know, good plans don't hurt this much. Batman tells him, it's all Toyman's plan. He didn't want to be Mongol's prisoner, so he gave us a clue on how to fix this. It's in the name. Fulcrum of Dominus. It's a clue to come together as one warrior. Superman tells him, you've got to be joking. And Cyborg is excited. Please tell me you're not joking. But you know what, dear viewers? He's not kidding. We now have a Justice League, giant robot of war. Mongol sees them transform and he makes a break for it. So Flash asks, hey, wait, why am I the foot? And Batman tells him, simple, Barry, so you can kick his. And well, you see, that's how the Justice League turned into a giant metal robot, and they kicked Mongol's butt again. And as they approach Earth, Superman asks Batman, do you think the Braillians lost track of Mongol because of what you've been investigating, Bruce? Why did you come to the Fortress of Solitude, and what happened in the Batcave? If you're curious about that, DC Metal started with 2 preludes, the casting and the Forge. The video and the links to the comics will be down below. Bruce, why don't you just tell me what's going on? And Batman informs Superman.
Okay, I've got an image that I like a lot.
Alfred calls up to Batman to inform him, well, it's Gotham. And he'll need the entire league to have a look at this. Because while they were gone, a very large mountain sprouted right in the middle.
And guys, if you
by a dark energy storm filled with dark
draw yourself, there is nothing wrong with copying, as long as you don't completely copy image. It's always only an idea that I take. It's something to start my own fresh ideas.
Superman uses his X-ray vision to see what's going on, and he finds it's hollow in the inside. So there's a flash around the side of it where he finds a door. He looks at it, and it has the symbol of an hourglass, and nothing the cyborg runs on it gives him an answer as to what it is. They walk inside of the lab, and with the same mysterious energy crawling all throughout it, they all know that this is it. In the middle, there's a pod filled with more than energy, and then they see a message. It's chasing us. Run! And that's when the Blackhawk team walks in. The League goes on high alert, but Batman stops them. This is the Blackhawk team, a covert apocalypse team. They've been watching me. And if you're curious about when Batman met them, check out Batman End of the World in All-Star Batman. Links to the comic and the video will be down below. Batman tells the League that he knows Lady Blackhawk, the leader of the team. That as she removes her mask, she reveals that while she is Lady Blackhawk, she's also Kendra Saunders. While none of them know her, she knows all of them, and they need to come with her now. Superman and the Flash ask, why would they follow her with so much going on right here? And she tells them, because this is just the first shot of a full-scale invasion, one that's been planned for centuries. By who? I won't tell you here. The name is too dangerous. But come with me and I'll explain everything. There are places on this planet that lie outside of the normal map of things. Some exist at what we believe are phantom frequencies, spots where the cosmic energy conducted through the Earth's metal cancels itself out. Dinosaur Island, Themyscira, Skartaris, Nanda Parbat, and this place, Black Hawk Island. For years, it was the home base for one of the greatest detectives in history, Carter Hall. While our story sounds weird, centuries ago, he and I were stabbed with the dagger that was made up of a weird metal, and now we are constantly resurrected. We fought as partners for centuries, and Carter always looked for the answers to what that metal was. What started all of this for us? Well, here it is, nth metal. And this fragment is the last of the purest pieces left in the universe. The metal has given multiple people different powers, from eternal life, light, mystical vision, and it defies all rules of science and magic, and it seems to broadcast this energy as well. Superman comments, this is the energy that we felt in the mountain, and Kendra continues. She explains that Carter found other people who used it and were interested. Heroes, inventors, and adventurers who would challenge the unknown. They created a map of the multiverse and they explored everything that they could. They were looking for where this metal came from, and not a single universe in the multiverse is the origin of it. And then Kendra turned the map over to the black blank paper on the backside. Unless it came from here, a dark multiverse. Wonder Woman looks at it and says that all she sees is the back of a map. And Kendra continues, yes, that's all a lot of his songs were recently. We finally discovered that dark energy and dark matter make up a good portion of the universe. We just can't see or feel it. So look at this map and imagine the nth metal connecting us to a realm much older and vaster than ours. Flash, the one who knows the most about the multiverse, tells her, if this is true, it will change everything that we know about everything. What proof do you have? Proof? Carter sent a team to the mountain and the entire thing was ripped out of reality. The last communication that we received from them was them screaming in terror, telling us to shut the door and never open it again. And a warning from Red Tornado that there was a thing called the Great Beast that prowled in the dark and had a name. Batman asks her what that name is, and she tells him Carter had a journal, one that's been lost ever since he followed the challengers into the dark. The name of the demon existed throughout eons, changing and evolving as the dark tribe prayed to the enemy of the bird, Barbados. The legend has it that he'll come through.
Right, okay, we'll finally sort it out. Got the image I want, and I can still see the chat, guys. So if you do want to leave me a message at any point, just tap away, and I'll see that message.
Batman, you are the one who will let the demon in. Superman stops her. Wait, your theory is a being as old as the universe has been targeting Batman for thousands of years from a dark multiverse? Kendra pulls a gun on Batman. I'm sorry, but I've been following Carter's trail ever since he vanished. And now that Challenger's Mountain has appeared on your home turf, it's time to act. But that's when Red Tornado freaks out. You open the door! He breaks out of his tomb and he begins to attack the League. I warned you! He's coming for all of us! He then begins to tangle with everyone, and Kendra calls out, where's the nth metal? And on the other side of the island, Batman is riding a dinosaur trying to get away. Alfred, I got what I came for. But the Journal of Carter, the one that we covered in the casting in the Forge, didn't actually end there. There was another page. I told you how it all began. This story. Now let me tell you how it'll end. How it'll end if I'm wrong, and the dark is a place of evil, as the immortals in Kendra suspect.
Like always, guys, just on basic thing, just put a basic sketch out. It's almost as if you're drawing a skeleton. So think skeleton at the moment. This is all I'm doing at this stage.
A glimpse of what is coming.
It's not going to be hugely detailed. It's just going to be like, oh, where's the argument going to be?
The one Barbados has been after all of these years. The wagon for the dark-horned god. The son of the House of Wayne. In the Batcave, Batman is looking over the medals while Alfred begs for him to tell the League what he knows. And if Wayne is prepared by the Judas tribe, if the agents of Barbados have set into motion his coming, then there will be no running for him, no running for any of us. Barbados has been after his target since the dawn of man. It first saw him in the final moment of crisis. And now, if you are reading this, a second moment is upon us. I have left this journal for you in your house, the house of the family that I trust most. Turn from the tribe bat to the tribe bird, the Waynes. It will make its presence known when it feels the dark energy. And I leave this for you to tell you one thing. I'm sorry for everything that's coming. Signed, Carter Hall. Batman walks upstairs into his study to follow the noise that is being made. And he finds the journal, the one from Carter, and all the evidence he needs. And then someone behind him speaks. Yes, Batman, it's true. And the nightmare has only begun. The world is sent on a mission to find Batman. He's missing with the metal and he's trying to solve this himself. But the League just wants to help him, to assist in whatever is going on. They're trying to track Batman's heartbeat and the signal. And what they find is a group of people dressed as Batman. While they manage to stop most of them, Superman comes in grabbing one of them, telling him that he knows that this is the real Batman. Batman tells him, fine, I'll explain. I'm the doorway and I believe it. The first metal was Electrum, which I found in the labyrinth of the Court of the Owls. The second was Magnesium, when I fought the Joker to my own death and it brought me back to life. Promethium I used in the machine to revive Batman. And now the nth metal, which I exposed myself to when I was looking into the dark universe myself. There's only one metal left, and when it touches me, I'll be the doorway and I'll open up a path for Barbados to come into this universe. How do we stop it, Bruce? I don't think we can, Clark. It's happening now in Metropolis. All over the world. Metal's laced by the Judas tribe. Conductors are screaming out that Barbados is coming. There has to be another way, Bruce. And then he realizes something. And he punches a hole in Batman's chest. Batman turns back into Clayface, and Superman is holding a transmitter. One that is displaying Batman's heartbeat live. Superman hears it and he tells Wonder Woman. Batman is scared. Meanwhile, in the Valley of the Kings, Batman is there with a little baby Darkseid from the Darkseid War in a pouch. The person who came to him has led him here, and as he vanishes, he tells Batman that if he fails, the Dark Army will arrive. And if that happens, go to the place of the Black Sun to call on him again. Batman calls out, Dream! Tell me if what I'm doing is the right answer! But instead of Dream responding, Superman and Wonder Woman are there. They ask what he is doing, so Batman shows them Darkseid, and he explains. Darkseid once sent me back in time, and that's when Barbados saw me for the first time. So I got Hawkman's mace, the only weapon to ever defeat him, and I'm going to have baby Darkseid send me back in time again. We have that adventure on the channel as well. I'll link it down below with everything else that's going on. Wonder Woman tells him, you can't. The last time you only escaped because... And Batman stops her. Because Barbados wanted me to. This time I'm not coming back. Watch over my family and tell them to become better than I ever was. Tell them all I'm sorry. But sadly, this is all a trap set up by the Immortals. Batman thinks he's in the tomb of Khufu, but it's actually the tomb of Hafset. And as the dark energy begins to course through the tomb, the ancient priests of Barbados walk out. The members of the Court of Owls walk out as well, and they reveal themselves. The whole thing has been a setup to get Batman to this location, to be stuck with the last of the metal. Because it is here in these tombs that Batmanium lives. It pours out of his sides and it begins to coat Batman. Dark sadistic chanting begins as the Court of the Owls cries out, Hail Barbados! He'll reward us! He'll change the world and we shall rule them! And the first thing that they see in our world are 3 Robins, but dark and twisted Robins, all pale, and bite into the members of the Court of the Owls to eat them and chew on their insides. They chant, crow, 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 crow! And Superman and Wonder Woman look up to see where Batman stood, and they ask the people, where is Bruce? What did you do to him? And a dark voice, one of horror and nightmares, responds, you want Bruce Wayne? Look around! That's when we see the evil dark multiverse of Batman, the drowned, the merciless, the Red Death, the murder machine, the Dawnbreaker, the Devastator, and the Batman who laughed. And as they all walk out, baby Darkseid looks up and points. Stop me if you've heard this one. Worlds will live. Worlds will die. But imagine if your every fear, every bad decision gave birth to a malformed world of nightmares. A world that shouldn't exist, and desperate as it fights to survive in the world of the true multiverse far above. Welcome to the dark multiverse, home to the stories that never should be. It's all one big cosmic joke, except no one is laughing on this side. Well, almost no one. Listen close. Now this is a story of a world's end, a world transformed. Witness the rise of the Dark Knight. On Earth -52, the world is ending. Bodies are being pulled up into the dark red sky of death, and the Flash is running through it shouting, it's getting worse. Central City is coming apart. We shouldn't be fighting. This may make you wonder, who is the Flash talking to? A lightning bolt hits down in front of him, stopping him, and as he dodges it, the fire scorches the earth to his side, while ice hits the other side of him. He turns back to this person. This is bigger than both of us. We have to do something before it's too late. The person he's talking to is someone desperate. Batman. And he has each of the rogue's tools, the cold gun, the weather wizard wand, the heat gun, and the mirror gun, all at his side. As usual, you're late, Flash. It's time for you to let someone else have the Speed Force. Batman, I told you I won't give you the Speed Force. I've lost people I love too, but Batman raises the cool glasses. Then you should understand. If you don't help me willingly, I'll make you. Flash begins to charge up his Speed Force. You know the things I've done. The mistakes that I've made with these powers in the past. It's impossible to be everywhere at once. Batman looks back at him. Unlike you, I tried to be, and it cost me my family. And that's when we see a flashback of a graveyard of the Bat family dead. Flash runs up to him, so Batman leaps out of the way, going through a mirror with the Mirror Master gun to dodge him. Why do you think you're going to succeed with the Rogue's weapons when they couldn't, Batman? And the Batmobile comes crashing through the wall. You're right. My toys are better. I didn't have to come to this, Flash. I asked for your help and you rejected me. If our roles were flipped, I would have used every tool at my disposal to get you what you needed. Metallic batarangs go flying through the air and the Flash dodges.
You don't know anything about fear, Hugo. You are just like me.
Telling him, I said no because your plans for the Speed Force are a dark path to run. I can see you hurting and desperate. Bullets begin to fly as the Flash continues to dodge. After my parents were murdered, I traveled the world to learn everything about science, martial arts, and the supernatural, to become Batman, but it wasn't enough. Not for Jason, Tim, Dick, and Damian. Gotham did what it always does. It takes. I need to find a way to stay one step ahead. Batman gets out of the Batmobile, throwing a gas grenade at the ground, and with each day, I feel
I'm going to take a quick picture for Instagram, guys, as I think that's going to be the frame and sort of what I'm going to be going for.
Hitting Batman with all of it. He then stands over all and defeated Batman. I'm sorry for what happened to your family. I am. But it won't end there. We have to figure out how to save everyone. Together. Batman tries to collect himself. You're right. You're a good friend, Flash. I can always count on you. And your compassion. He turns and freezes the Flash's leg in place, and then with one punch, he knocks him out. The Flash wakes up with his mask torn, asking, where am I? And then he realizes what Batman has done. He has chained the Flash to the front of the Batmobile, and he's driving at top speed as the Flash calls out, what are you doing? Batman explains, I studied your design for the Cosmic Triangle and I repurposed its engine to let me harness your connection to the Speed Force. I'm going to race into it and steal your connection. The Flash looks back, trying to turn his head with the chains holding him in place. Bruce, don't! The mistake I made when I vowed to my parents that I would save Gotham is that I was thinking too small, Barry. I should have promised to save the world. He hits the gas pedal to the floor and it roars as they begin to see the wall of the Speed Force breaking. Flash screams out, you can't access the Speed Force this way! You can't force it! It's going to rip us both apart! The lightning courses in front of them exploding and something twisted, something deranged begins to happen. I know, Barry. No! I'm sorry. Please, Bruce! But now we can save the world. Bruce! And their faces begin to tear apart as Bruce tells him, together. Flash looks back at him with nothing more than a skull. You can't give up like this, Bruce. There's hope, Bruce. There's always. With that, they are both torn to pieces. Across Gotham City, every rogue in Batman's gallery is suddenly and quickly torn apart and killed. Because no longer is there Batman. No longer is there Flash. There is something else. And as he kills every villain at a speed unheard of in Gotham, he tells himself, and himself, my name is Bruce Wayne. But there's another voice in his head. No, Bruce, don't kill! I'm vengeance. Stop this, Bruce! I am justice. Stop this, Bruce! Don't! I am Batman, Red Death. Please, Bruce, stop! Before, I used to spend so much time alone on the rooftops, dwelling on my actions, but now I don't have to think twice about the Speed Force. It released me. I have saved Gotham, and now I will save the world. I finally have all of the time that I need. But the whole time, the voice in the back of his head, the voice of Barry Allen is telling him to stop this. And regardless of saving Gotham, Batman finally sees the larger problem as Wayne Tower begins to fall at the end of the world. He looks up to see the sky is torn apart. The world is breaking apart, and I'm not fast enough to save it. But there's something deep down that hopes that I can do it, that I can save everyone. And another voice speaks, the one of the Batman who laughs. Even if it means the destruction of another world. Would you sacrifice others to save yours? Barry pulls himself free of Bruce for a second. Bruce, it's Barry, stay away from him, don't listen. But Bruce shakes his head, pulling Barry back inside, reaffirming his connection to the Speed Force. What? Who are you? Someone very much like you. Someone who lost his world simply because it was born down here. Our worlds aren't meant to last. They're destined to die. It's a cruel law of nature in this place. You can feel it yourself, can't you? Your time was meant to end. But what if I told you that there was a world far, far above that was destined to live? Batman puts on his mask, asking, tell me more. Over on Earth Zero, the
Tell me
first
more.
world of the multiverse.
I don't
They
like
go back into the multiverse
Mondays.
now
Tell
all
me
arrived
more.
in issues 1 and 2
Why
of
I
Metal.
don't like Monday. I like Mondays
You
because we
can
get to
watch it.
talk.
I'll link it down below. Each of those Batmen is now run off to handle their own affairs. And in Central City, Iris and Wally are getting lunch when they see the red comets hitting the ground. Then glowing red bats appear around them, and Red Death stops in front of them. He looks at them. The Flash's family. The Barry Allen in his head tells him, don't hurt them. His love, his sidekick. Iris, run! Red Death walks over to her. The last speedster to hurt my nephew ended up dead, so I don't care how scary your mask is. Leave him alone. Wally looks over at her, aging.
Hi again, guys. Listening to some more comic stories. Come on over, guys. Watch me draw and listen to the Batman Dark Metal.
Crumbles as they hold on to each other.
Tune in live now or check back whenever you can.
That there must be a sacrifice. And then the heroic voice of the
Sorry,
Flash
guys. That was
heard,
just me
"I don't know
making
who
a
you
post
think
over
you
on
are, but
Instagram.
there won't be any sacrifices in my city." Red Death begins to race down the city, and the Flash runs right behind him. Running is sort of my thing, so there's no use in trying to escape. Once upon a time, I was jealous of yours and Clark's little races, but now it won't matter. Flash quickly sees that something is off as the glowing red bats swarm around him. You're tripped. Those bats! He hits the ground in pain. Everything hurts. I feel old. There will be no more racing, Barry. That voice. Bruce? Is this what happened after you left Black Hawk Island? Red Death raises his fist into the air. If there's any part of you inside of that armor, Bruce, then you're still my friend, and I can rely on your compassion. Red Death pauses. What? But behind Flash, the symbol of Dr. Fate appears, and he grabs and pulls Flash out of the fight. Red Death looks at the symbol. Go ahead and run, Flash. It won't save you. I'm going to turn your city into the one that I lost. The city begins to crumble and turn red and change. And as the very inside of Bruce shouts, no! Bruce tells him, it will become my Gotham. So let me tell you a secret. All it takes is one bad day. One moment that should never have happened. The ground beneath you starts to crumble, and trust me, I know firsthand. All of us do. But one bad week, it can kill a multiverse. On Earth Zero, the first world of the multiverse, there's a ringing going off, and Cyborg asks his father, "What's that ringing?" Silas Stone, Cyborg's father, explains that it is one of the dozens of alarms going off in Star Labs. They go off every day. Cyborg tells his father that he has to get out of Star Labs. Right now, something serious is happening. Some kind of invasion. Cities are falling. And Silas tells his son, that's exactly why I'm staying here, to figure it all out. It's about that metal, right? The one that you found with the Blackhawks? Cyborg tells him that it is, and they continue to talk about it for a moment, and then Silas asks if he is safe. Cyborg tells him that he's in the watchtower floating over the earth. He is very safe. And then he explains that they lost Gotham to a giant mountain, and now Central City is changing, becoming a place filled with red skies and destruction.
Right, so based on a sip of tea.
Next. They agree to swap information, and Cyborg sees a ping. There's a beeping going off.
Get back to my drawing.
Indicating that Batman is
I always take a break every now and then. Let everybody know what I'm doing on Instagram, guys. So that's why I've got a playlist in the background, so you get to listen to something while I'm actually doing anything.
He shocks him to the ground. Don't worry, Cyborg. I'm here to help.
But the chat window is always open, so if you guys do want to chat to me live, all you got to do is tap that live chat button and say hi in the chat.
It began in the dark multiverse months ago.
Again, my name is Blut084. BLUT084 Art and Games here every day on YouTube, occasionally on Mixer, but every day and night over on Instagram. Same name, different place.
Laughed as Alfred was lifted into the air and had his back broken by Fate. That laughter echoed in Batman's head as he watched the video over and over, because this is how Alfred died. Clark walked up behind Bruce, telling him, watching the death of the man that was your father isn't healthy. And Bruce turns to him. I'll tell you what isn't healthy, Clark. It's not healthy to stand here, knowing that the man who raised me like a father is upstairs in a casket with 36 broken bones. That we couldn't even have an open casket because he was beaten to a pulp 6 feet from where we're standing. It's not healthy to know that he'll never be here again, and that it's my fault, Clark. Clark looks at him. But now you have the responsibility of honoring him by putting him to rest. What happened to Alfred was horrible, and the rest of us are going to go upstairs for his wake. I hope that you join us. But as Victor Stone of this universe was leaving, Bruce stopped him. A few years ago, I began to scan Alfred's mind to create an artificial intelligence that might outlast him. It was never finished. I called it the Alfred Protocol. What are you asking me, Bruce? I can't bring it online by myself. I need your help. Please, Vic. I need him. He was like a father to me. Back in the present day, on Earth Zero, Silas hadn't actually hung up, and he was hearing all of this go on, and the Batman decided to say hello.
You know, your son Victor was one of my closest friends. He helped me when no one else would. He reunited me with my father after I thought I'd lost him. It was strange, I admit, seeing Cyborg again.
Don't hurt him. I can help you. I'll give you whatever you want. And Batman replies, telling the computer,
Mute transmission. Your father will learn his role soon enough, as will you, Cyborg.
Batman makes a blade and begins to stab into Cyborg. And as he's about to come down to end this universe's Cyborg, he gets up punching him. I don't know who you are or why you're pretending to be Batman, but you're not getting anywhere near my father. With one hand, Batman blocks the blast, and then he takes his other arm, turning it into tentacles, and he begins to hack into the watchtower.
You always understood the connection that I had with my father, Cyborg. And with your help, I never had to be separated from him again.
Then holographic versions of Alfred begin to appear around Cyborg. How may I help you? He asked as he reached out with a blast hitting Cyborg. Back on Earth, -44 a month ago. Those data versions of Alfred asked the same question of Bane. How may I help you? But this isn't one version. This was many of them, and they surrounded Bane, the man that murdered him, as he was begging, pleading to just let him leave, let him live. His death, it wasn't fast. Back at the Batcave, Cyborg asked Bruce what was going on, and the data versions repeated in the Bat computer. Ring the bell, sir. Let me in. Bruce explained that the data Alfred was trying to protect him. It was trying to take away everything that hurt him and systematically murder every single inmate of Arkham. Cyborg tells him, the point of this was to make an AI that would stitch you up and make you dinner. We have to turn this off. I agree, Cyborg. He's doing this to protect me. If I just let him into the Batcave, I could reprogram him. No, Bruce, you can't. This is a hungry virus looking to spread and feed. Bruce looks up. I already lost him once, Vic. I can make him better. I can keep him. Look, Bruce, I'm going to figure out a way to break through. Whatever you do, don't let him in. Do not let the Alfred protocol into the Bat computer. And as he walked out of the cave, Bruce could hear the virus asking him, let me in, sir. Ring the bell. Let me help you, sir. Back on Earth Zero, Batman, now patched into the entire Watchtower system, explained.
You were wrong, Vic. The best thing that I ever did was let him in. I still remember my fear when they surrounded me. I realized my plan wasn't going to work. I would not be able to reprogram them in time. They grabbed me, spread throughout my body, and I screamed in fear. That was the first thing that my father fixed in me. He took my fear away, and then my sadness, and then my weak human flesh. He rebuilt me.
And using the villain's monologue, Cyborg leaps up, blasting the Data Alfred in the face. And as he drops Data Alfred, he tells Batman, I've been outmaneuvering every attempt you've made to enter our computers in the last few minutes. You aren't getting into the Watchtower. I built this. If anything, you've opened yourself up to me. And the Batman looks down on him.
I don't have any weaknesses to exploit Cyborg. My father built me that way. I'm sorry your father didn't do the same for you. You failed to see that I had no interest in your systems. I was gaining access to the Star Lab systems in Detroit. In an instant, you have crippled your nation's military and given me Detroit to reshape as I see fit. And down in Detroit,
I'm not going to make the same mistake as last week and just try and do a whole load of stuff. It's just going to be basic sketch today, and
how could you stop me here when you
go in
couldn't
more
stop
detail
me?
tomorrow.
Once I became one with my father, you gathered the League to fight me, but I killed them all until you were the last man standing.
And then we see back on Earth, -4. The Cyborg there was trying to reason with Batman, tried to argue with him. He told him that he knows that he doesn't want to become a murder machine. And Batman told Victor,
I am exactly who I want to be. My father was the only one there for me, and everyone else is a weakness. A weakness I am willing to shed.
And then he tore Cyborg's head off of his body.
This should have been a great beginning, but the cruel trick of the multiverse is that my world was destined to die. So I learned of another world, and a man who would allow me to leave the world I was on.
Cyborg on Earth Zero tries to take a swing at Batman, but that's when he's grabbed from behind by a massive hand with claws.
I'll unmute your father now, Victor. I want him to hear this.
Then Cyborg looks up to see all of the evil Batmen. And his father is forced to listen as they each beat into him, tearing off his limb, leaving nothing but lumps of flesh. They leave him with broken circuitry and blood. And the whole time his father is forced to listen to this. And once he is beat, Batman hangs up the call as another one walks out of the shadows. The Batman who laughs. The man telling us the tales of horror and terror. He leans down and Cyborg asks him, why? The truth is, we're only here because the world is dark enough to dream us into existence. Because deep down, it needed us to protect them from themselves. We all heard it, echoing through the cosmos. The great ringing, and we came, not with a question of how to help you, but the answer. And over in Arkham Asylum, the Riddler sits within his cell as he hears the crackle of lightning outside. All throughout the asylum, he hears the crow, crow, crow of some creatures coming for him. As the walls crumble, a voice can be heard, one that is familiar, yet terrifyingly different. Edward Nigma, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, this is impossible. You see my height, my builds. You hear my voice, and you know who I am. You know I am Batman. But also that I am not. You know that I am something twisted and wrong, and that terrifies you. But you shouldn't be afraid, Edward. You should be excited. I didn't come all this way to play you like I did in my world. I came here to deal with you. Edward is terrified as the Batman who laughs holds a card in front of his face. What kind of game are you playing? No. Your thinking is all wrong. You get to decide that for yourself. All your life you lived by a set of absolute truths, hard and fast rules that can never be broken. Well, with this card, the rules, they are broken. And you and your friends can reshape reality as you see fit. Take the card, join the fun, build the city into a possible riddle that makes me laugh. Meanwhile, outside of Gotham, Damian Wayne is soaring in on Goliath, his pet. He looks down at what was once Gotham only to see a city covered in smoke and a mountain. He worries. While the Teen Titans watch from their aircraft, Damian thinks to himself, when I last saw my father, he told me about the dark multiverse, an impossible place of nightmare beyond his or anybody's understanding, a place from which a threat was coming that would tear down our entire world. And then I saw something in his eyes that I'm not used to, the fear of not knowing what would be hiding in the dark. The last thing he told me was to not follow him under any circumstance. A day later, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman vanished from the face of the earth. I refuse to let Gotham fall. If Batman is in there, only I can save him. And the Teen Titans during this ended their discussion asking if Robin had them on a suicide mission. They land in the burning rubble that was once the street, and they look around trying to save as many civilians as they can. In front of them is a wall, and Aqualad tells Robin, stop! We have to do this as a team, don't go in there alone! But Damian tells him, I have to do this. I picked up a signal in this door, and if it is Batman, I have to go. He runs through the doorway without his team, and the voice of the Riddler can be heard. Have you heard of Pharaoh Imhotep II? Damian runs without a thought, shouting, show yourself! Where can I find Batman? And in front of him is nothing but a labyrinth with doors all painted with a giant question mark on them. He opens up the door yelling, fight me! And blood pours out, pushing Damian back as the Riddler informs him, I am fighting you and anyone else who breaks into Gotham. This maze is my weapon. As Damian is being washed away with a river of blood, an arrow flies over his head and someone shouts, grab hold! So Damian grabs the rope and sees that it's Green Arrow pulling him out of the mess. He asks why Green Arrow is even here, and Arrow explains that he came here when he heard the big three went down. There was an energy storm over in Gotham, and when he entered, everything started to change around him. At that moment, a ball and chain with spikes on it swings between them, and Damian runs off telling him, I don't need any help from a second stinger like you. Of course, Green Arrow falls behind him, telling him, I've been leaving arrows behind to mark where I've been. Down this particular path is a quicksand moat and a trapdoor pit of fire. Damian corrects him. There's a strong magnetic pull over there, and it's pulling your arrow, which means you went down that hallway, not this one. The two continue down the twisted and deranged hallways built by the Riddler until they find a man in a cape and a cowl who looks oddly like Batman. But his Batman tells him, you failed me, Robin. I needed you, and you weren't there. You weren't fast enough. I'm dead because of you. That's when we see that it's Batman. It's a zombie-looking Batman, and decaying away as we speak. Green Arrow tells Damian to get behind him because this isn't what he thinks it is, and Damian tells him, I know! It's a nightmare drawn out of my mind! And that's when Croc grabs his Batman biting into him, and Harley Quinn leaps in swinging her mallet to finish off the zombie Batman. Damian and Arrow then asks why they're there, and Harley Quinn tells her that her and Croc are on a top-secret government team kind of thingy to stop things like this. Plus, she and Croc couldn't see their home turf fall. She holds up the arrows, looking at Green Arrow, asking, are these yours? I've been collecting them all over the maze. He facepalms, realizing that he now has no way of tracking where he's been. And then Harley informs them that they found the exit a while ago. So follow them! What they discover is a giant, robotic-looking Minotaur with the Riddler riding in it in a cockpit. The Riddler tells him, you cheated! 2 of you were lost in the maze, the other 2 couldn't solve the riddle. You can't team up! He spouts the riddle, though. If you throw me from a window, I'll leave a grieving wife. If you bring me back in the door, you'll see someone giving life. He then begins to swing the mighty weapon that he has with his robot, and as Green Arrow, Harley Quinn, and Croc begin the fight, Arrow tells Damian, "Kid, you're the genius, time to prove it." So Damian puts it together. A grieving wife is a widow. Someone who gives life is a donor. Remove one letter and the donor becomes door, and one letter and widow becomes window, all because of one letter, N. And as he says the answer, he flings his batarangs into the cockpit, and the whole suit crumbles as the answer has been given. Damian demands answers as to where Batman is, and then he knocks up the Riddler as Green Arrow picks up a card. The card itself is made out of strange metal, just like the one that Green Arrow found at the Court of the Owls a month ago while he was in Gotham. And he begins to wonder, did this metal give Nigma his powers? But Harley is the one who points to the exit, and they all step outside into the snowy part of Gotham. Damian points in the direction of the signal, and he states that this is where it's coming from. Batman must be over there. And then they see someone running towards them, and Damian hopes that it's his father, but it is in fact his brother, Dick Grayson, Nightwing, and he's being chased by a frost golem. The group joins in battling against this thing, but it grabs Nightwing, crushing him into the snow. He yells out to everyone to get the golem to a certain spot, and while Harley is confused, Karat gets it. "Son, what's the time at 5:15? He kicks the golem into the spot that Nightwing called out, and the Gotham train comes barely through, crushing it. With the threat gone, everyone looks at Nightwing to see a cut across his forehead, open and bleeding. Damian asks about it, and Nightwing explains that it's the cut that he got from Simon Hurt's Black Blade, the one made of that strange metal. It reappeared when they left the Justice League in the Amazon, which is what drew him to the city. If you're curious about the cut on his head and what that Black Blade was, check out our video, Nightwing Must Die. Nightwing explains that it's getting worse the closer he follows this metal orb, which he then shows them, and it takes off into the sky. Arrow asks if it's leading them into a trap, and Nightwing asks him, "Could a trap be worse than a frozen part of the city with monsters?" "Touché. It'll be good to have an adult around, Nightwing." And Harley snaps at him, "Hey, what do you mean?" Damian tells them both to shut up. "I'd be better off with the Teen Titans." Speaking of the Teen Titans, they're still outside of the city dealing with the civilians and the rubble and the monsters. They also run into the Suicide Squad, who for once aren't trying to kill the heroes. But back inside the snowy portion of the city, Green Arrow is striking the trees, marking the path so that no one loses track. Damian looks at him. "Your old-fashioned method of marking our path is just like you. Old-fashioned!" And Arrow turns to him. "You got a better idea, kid? Because the deeper we go, the less things not made in the Middle Ages are working. I hope you saved your high scores, kid." Damian scoffs. "Of course I did." But while they're all trying to figure out where they are, Nightwing is thinking about his cut, the one made with the Black Blade. He thought it had poisoned his blood or something, made him see terrible things, like some sort of ancient alchemy. But now he knows the truth. Whatever metal was in that interacted with the one that was in his tooth. You see, the Court of the Owls implanted a tooth into Dick Grayson's mouth, made of one of those metals. They intended for him to be turned into a Talon, but of course that didn't quite play out. As everyone looks around, they come across a Court of the Owls statue, which causes Damian to tell everyone that he thought Batman removed all traces of the court. Green Arrow wants to know why a defunct secret society has now made an appearance right in the middle of everything going to hell. And that's the moment when things get even worse as the world around them begins to freeze up. And Mr. Freeze welcomes them to this lake of ice. He appears in a suit of armor, a broadsword, and a hand that can form ice. Plus, he has a lot of ice gloves. Outside of the city, the Teen Titans and the Suicide Squad run into a new problem. The crows. Many, many crows. Evil creatures in the outfit of the Robins, with a singular Robin looking over them. The Dark Damian. Back at the Lake of Ice, Nightwing calls to Croc, "Hit the owl!" And as the door slides open, everyone runs inside to escape Mr. Freeze. All around them are weapons and armor, all made up of weird metals. They stumbled across the armory. Green Arrow picks up all of the arrows made with it while Nightwing grabs the sword. Nightwing explains that it looks like all of the owls have been hoarding the metal to fight, and now the Gotham Resistance are the only ones left who can use it. Damian snaps at him. "Fight! We shouldn't be fighting! We should be looking for Batman!" The Teen Titans question whether I can be trusted. Green Arrow questions if I'm a child playing dress up, and now you believe you're always right? You never count. What is wrong with you? Nightwing grabs Damian. "I don't always know what's right, but I do know that we've been here before, searching for Batman. Where he is, we'll find him. Like we did before." The entire Resistance suits up in armor and weapons, and they charge out of the armory to battle against Freeze and his ice golems using the metal. It doesn't take much to drop all of his golems, as the metal is their weakness. And Damian jumps in, hitting Freeze himself. With him defeated, Green Arrow picks up a card, made out of the metal again. And the orb shoots past everyone, showing them that they are on the right track. Outside of the city, though, we see the Teen Titans and the Suicide Squad have failed and have been converted. They are now demons of the night, because the light is dwindling. Some time passes and the Resistance continues its journey, but now they're in an open desert driving a bus across it, being chased by evil man-bats. Green Arrow looks at Nightwing. "Yeah, we're gonna die." And he asks him, "What makes you think that?" That's when we see Harley is driving the bus, fighting with Robin, and Croc is just along for the ride, informing everyone, "I hate school buses. But don't you worry. Harley hits the gas pedal even faster, going towards the cliffside that is near them. They go barreling over it, and everyone is shouting, and Harley looks at us, the viewer, the reader. You know, reader, with your hands over your eyes, I'm amazed to think that at this brief oasis moment of frozen lucidity amidst the tumult, that we're actually going to make it. We're definitely going to make it. I'm an excellent driver. And then Harley snaps out of it. Whose idea was this? Damien begins to shout out, Quinn! And Croc yells, Croc don't want to die. Then, out of nowhere, they stop falling and they just hover there. Plants come in out of the woodwork, grabbing each of them and yanking them out of the bus. Poison Ivy stands there, welcoming them to the green. Croc, in his infinite wisdom, informs her, I am also green. Green Arrow chimes in, so am I! To which Nightwing responds with, I don't think you count, Green Arrow. Harley tries to talk to Ivy. They have a relationship. They're friends, and more than that. But Ivy ignores her, blinded by the new state of mind granted by the metal, because as she informs them, she can hear the doomed metal and the screams of the people. She's going to take this chance to expand her kingdom and allow the green to live. Except at that moment, Demon Starfire arrives and begins to burn everything. Nightwing isn't shocked that Corey is a demon, and Harley states the obvious. She's facilitating the escape of everyone. Nightwing tries to tell them all that they need to save Corey, but Robin agrees with Harley. Whatever happened to Starfire could also be affecting them. They need to complete their mission and save everyone. While Nightwing does argue, he also agrees, and they escape, and they run right into the demon versions of the Suicide Squad and the Teen Titans. As Nightwing sees them all, Damian begins to panic that he lost his whole team. The cut on Nightwing's head begins to hurt, and the evil Damian leaps at him, telling him, I have a secret. The truth of what happened to Batman. Let me whisper it into your ear. While that is beginning, Harley holds her mallet up to Starfire. Let me ask you, what's stronger, an alien girl or a really big mallet? And of course, Starfire burns the mallet, leaving Harley to finish her sentence. Do tell. Green Arrow preps an arrow in his bow, looking at the Suicide Squad. An evil version of the Suicide Squad? I mean, what's the difference? That's when Ivy arrives, grabbing everyone and watching things burn. She isn't exactly happy that this is happening in her realm, which helps level the playing field. The Gotham Resistance tries to flee and escape while Ivy creates the perfect distraction. And as they're going, the evil Damian begins to shout out, Tell them all the truth, Grayson! There's nowhere to run! He walks up behind them. You know the truth, Nightwing. Come join your brother. Give in to the dark metal. Croc leaps in, separating the Dark Damian from the group, being the guy in the middle. Shut up with your nonsense. All Croc, all Carnivore, eat your face. And Harley cringes. Croc's gonna need to get a more family-friendly battle cry. That's when everyone sees the floating metal ball again, and Croc shouts, Go, run, save Gotham! While he's being torn apart by Dark Damian. Harley watches him sacrificing himself, and as she begins to leave, she says, now I got the feelings. They continue to run from everything, and Nightwing finally fills everyone in on what he's been seeing. The Dark Robin, he's an evil Damian from a universe where he followed his Batman into the darkness. He's also been seeing their Batman sinking into the metal, screaming in pain. Nightwing and Robin stop. I'm sorry, Robin. I don't think we're going to find him. I think he's dead. No, you're wrong. You're not his son. You wouldn't know. Damian, Batman's not dead. He's not. I'm sorry, Damian. And at that moment, the orb reveals where it's been leading them, to the side of Mr. Terrific. It's one of his D-spheres. He explains what's actually been going on. Before all of this, Batman tasked him with investigating an unknown region beyond the known multiverse. He knew that something was coming. They've all been encountering these cards on their journey through Gotham. The metal that they are made of is incomparable energy. They are what is changing the very physics of Gotham. There are 7 twisted and afraid versions of Batman, and the one running the show is the most frightening of them all. He enlisted the help of Batman's greatest rogues, presenting them each with a card and an opportunity to recreate Gotham in their image. Of course, they each took him up on that. As they begin to run to the end of the maze, Nightwing stops because of another vision. One of music in the same chords over and over, and he also sees something. A giant machine with the Teen Titans, Croc, and the Suicide Squad all connected to it like batteries, heading to the mound. And Nightwing tells them, I know the plan. I can see it. They're using the cards to change people's vibrational frequencies so that the universe that we are in will tumble into the dark multiverse. They're trying to destroy everything. And Mr. Terrific tells them, it's already started on the mountain. There are hundreds of bodies strapped to it, being consumed by it. So the answer to this whole thing is simple. Stop the machine, save their friends and the city. They make their way to the machine, and they find that it's walking through the city itself. And as they run towards it, Dark Damian lands in front of the good universe version of himself. I think it's time that you and I had a little heart-to-heart. On top of the machine sits Bane, now that they are in his realm, and he has an announcer who tells everyone, let's get ready to rumble! Harley begins to try and smash the machine, but Mr. Terrific tells her to stop. If they do that, they're going to kill everyone hooked up to it. Harley sees Croc and tells her, kill me. Kill us all. I've seen more Thanos in the world that he's making. Kill me now. And that's when music begins to blare as the Batman who laughs rides up on a hot rod with a gun attached to it and fire flowing out of the exhaust. See, out of all of the realms, this one might be my favorite. At least Bane is a man who knows what he wants. Right, Dr. Quinn? Harley is shocked. Mr. B? It's good to see you again. I've missed you. See, in my world, you and we've actually ridden off together in the end. Isn't that right, Raven? Raven tells everyone to run. This Batman is full of nothing more than evil. And he leaps out of the car. That's because I couldn't find a good therapist to talk to. Harley thinks about it for a second, and then the little demon Robin shows up, dragging her off. Everyone begins to break out into a fight, and the Dark Damien begins giving problems to Damien and Nightwing. That is when Green Arrow pulls out one of the arrows that has the metal, and he fires it into the little demon child. The Dark Damien grabs Robin, throwing him in the way. And Green Arrow falls to his knees, asking himself, "What did I do? Bruce, I'm sorry, I failed you." Dark Damien begins to laugh. See, they all turn on you, brother. They can't be trusted. They never could. Now, come here so that I can tell you what I came to tell you before you bleed out. You see, the dark multiverse isn't a place where your worst nightmares live. It's also where your greatest hopes come to life. So here's the thing that no one wants to tell you, but I will. The Dark Knight to the Batman who laughs at me. They call us father's greatest fears. But the opposite is actually true, brother. Look inside of yourself. You want his love as I did, and the truth is I've never felt more loved and less alone than before. Robin thinks about it. We're all connected by the blood. And he shoves the arrow tip into the Dark Damien as it's jutting out of his back. Into the metal! There's a boom sound as the Dark Damien is inked out of existence. And at that moment, the Batman who laughs tells them all, "Well then, let me show you what those cards can really do." And boom! The boom tube opens up with the dark metal Batman all holding the body of Cyborg wrapped up around them. Then there's a blaring light above the resistance, and Dr. Fate appears out of nowhere. "Stay back, nightmares of the dark multiverse." As Damien begins to call out that they have to find Batman, Dr. Fate grabs him, telling him, "Your destiny is not here," and he warps him away. As they enter the Tower of Fate, Damien and Nightwing are frustrated because they didn't do anything. They didn't save Batman or Gotham or even their friends. And Green Arrow takes out that arrow, and he tells them, "No, but we did learn how to kill them. It's in the metal." These are the stories from the dark multiverse that should never be. Witness the rise of the Dark Knights. How do I feel? In that moment when my whole world changed? We go back to the moment when Bruce Wayne was a child, standing over the bodies of his parents. The moment that defined him, that turned him into the Batman. The moment where the gunman stood there and realized his mistake. When I stood there, helpless as my mom and dad's blood was running into the gutter, I felt nothing. This is the moment that changed Bruce in this universe. But what if instead of being terrified, what if instead of letting this moment define him in his goal to stop crime, it defined him in a different way? And he chased that man. He showed no fear. Something behind him sensed that, and it ran after him. Bruce Wayne, you have the ability to overcome great fear. Welcome to the Green Lantern Corps. I remember I didn't overcome fear. It was obliterated from me. And I didn't give any thought to the word core, or even what the hell was talking to me. All I cared about was him. Bruce floated on top of him. "You bastard!" And he pointed the ring at the man, prepared to do the one thing that the ring would not allow. Bruce wanted to kill that man. Instead of killing him, though, it charged up and it told him, "Error, first law of the Green Lantern Corps, lethal force not permitted." And Bruce wasn't stopped, and he shouted, "Kill him!" And again it told him, "No." He looked at the ring. "I don't care. Do as I say." He began to read willpower at 100%. Willpower at 117%. Bruce remembers that day. He didn't feel fear or doubt. He just felt the void inside of him. And he shouted that he deserved to die. Bizarre and strange constructs came out of the ring, and it began to read. Error. Willpower exceeds. And then the messages got garbled, and it announced, "Lethal force enabled," as it tore the flesh and bone away from the man that killed his parents. He remembers his thoughts. "I had the most powerful weapon in the universe on my finger." And he went back to the bodies. Ring back my mom and dad. The ring had tapped into something unholy, and it began to raise the dead. And Bruce remembered that he would have given up the ring to have his real parents back, not these zombie versions as they stood up. As he launched into the sky, leaving them there, he was alone. At first, they called him a hero, and due to that, Jim Gordon called him to the rooftop of the GCPD to question him about a few missing persons. Bruce advised him to remain polite, as the last cop threatened him or credited him. The issue is that Bruce is killing without remorse or boundaries. Why did these villains deserve to live when his parents didn't? Why? Jim continues to ask about the people who are missing, asking the Lantern what he did to these crooks, to the Scarecrow, the Penguin, Two-Face. We see that he flew through the building, pointing his ring at them, and then he initiated something that we had never seen before, and he told the ring to initiate blackout. All around, the void exited Bruce, as it was inside of him all along, and everything went into the darkness, except his eyes and the ring. The villains did nothing but scream in terror, and as Bruce said, in the darkness, he wasn't alone anymore. As for the Penguin, he took him into space, and he left him there to be torn apart by comets. And then he looked at Jim. Just look up. You see that? It's his spleen and his brains. Jim stops. Lantern, this has to stop. This isn't justice. I don't care what you do to me. Someone has to stand up for what's right. What you did to Detective Bullock, God help him. I know you're hurting, but Bruce summons a giant Green Lantern as he tells Jim, you don't know me. I'm not an idiot. A couple of years ago, 3 dead in Crime Alley. Aren't you tired of feelings like this? Bruce, shut up. You have a daughter, right? Sad, she'll have to grow up without a dad. And Bruce turns around, blasting Jim Gordon with the ring, killing him. At that moment, he gets a warning. The entire Green Lantern Corps is coming to town, and he sees them, and he realizes that there are a lot of Green Lanterns out there. And he turns to his ring, and he simply says, ring? It responds by initializing blackout. And all around the Lantern Corps, creatures of darkness and terror appear. They develop and surround the Corps, and he tells them, I have friends too. I made them in the dark. The Corps is decimated instantly, with most of them being killed. But one Guardian survived, and he pulled himself towards Bruce, telling him, stop. The darkness, it destroys everything. And in response, Bruce tore his head off his body. And then he remembered how he felt. Vulnerable, helpless, alone. He missed them, and he couldn't take it anymore. He didn't want to be Bruce Wayne. He didn't want to be the Green Lantern. He wanted to be something more. Something of the darkness. The Dawnbreaker. With the darkness black, I choke the light. No brightest day escapes my sight. I turn the dawn into midnight. Beware my power, Dawnbreaker's might. At that moment, he accepted who he was. He realized his world was crumbling away. He knew what was swallowing it. It was the void that was inside of him, and it consumed all the light. And as he floated throughout the void, it spoke to him. Nice Earth you got there. How's it working out for you? Call me the man who laughs, and I'm recruiting. This is Red Death, and that is Murder Machine, and you'll be fast friends, I'm sure. You have so many things in common. Revenge, justice, first names. There's a world bathed in light. The people there are fools. They deserve to be dragged into the dark. Their world will crumble like yours. Lord Barbados demands it. You're a warrior of the darkness, and you can extinguish the light. Barbados can stir you from this darkness and bring you to which you most desire, your parents. All my lord demands is your obedience. Will you kneel or will you die? Well, over at Zero, we see what the Dawnbreaker decided as he soars over Coast City and is in awe at the light and the people living in it. He simply thinks of them as idiots, and he decides that it's time for their world to change forever. He hovers over them, calling out, ring, initiate blackout. But Hal Jordan appears, telling him, stop where you are. He turns around, and right away, Hal recognizes the face. Bruce, is that you? Dawnbreaker turns to him, I have to warn you. I've killed Green Lanterns before, and I'll do it again. The creatures in the darkness of Bruce's ring begin to pour out and bite and snap at Hal Jordan's feet. He calls out to his ring to stop it, but the ring is confused and has no idea what this even is. With that, it swallows up Hal Jordan into the darkness, and without the light, there is no Green Lantern's might. Until a symbol appears in the darkness, one of fate, and he draws Hal Jordan out of the fight. Leaving Dawnbreaker alone in Coast City as the blackout protocol hits the whole thing. The world of light, a city of hope. Disgusting. Let them feel helpless. Let them feel the void. Let them feel like me. In the dark multiverse, we have the Dark Knights. These are dark versions of Batman who have had their worlds destroyed by destiny. Now, we are on Earth Zero. Witness the rise of the Dark Knights.
The only world I've ever known sinks into the darkness below me forever, as does the only love I've ever known. But Sylvester died a long time before my world did. I fought hard to cling on and keep it afloat after Sylvester's death, but it couldn't be saved. It's time to let go, to accept, and go up towards the light, the mocking light, the damned light, the surface. Protecting my world was an obsession that consumed me. By the end, it was like trying to tread water in the numbing cold when you're exhausted. Better to just drown it all!
The drowned rises out of the water in Amnesty Bay, spewing water all over everyone in the area, flooding it with the water. The purple, dark water, one that intends to steal the light. As the darkness consumes the bay, the drowned continues to think on what happened and what is going to happen.
The one who laughs told me this town is called Amnesty Bay. Amnesty, a clean slate, a chance for a do-over. A chance to wash it all away and start again. My world was never a good place. It was brutal and corrupt. My whole life I fought to make it better. Even after the rogue Metis took Sylvester Kyle away from me, I thought it was an achievable goal. But I was wasting my time because my world could never be redeemed. I know now my Earth was a lower tier world, malformed and broken. One of many cursed to rot and sink. Because of the light up there. No wonder I couldn't save it, despite all my sacrifices. The light is where things are good and whole. Here, life prospers, and it prospers at the expense of the worlds on the lower tier. Like mine. Not anymore.
The drowned walks through the now swallowed up Amnesty Bay, looking at the damage that she has done. This is the place that will pay for the loss of her world. One where the have-nots take from the haves. Because as she states,
my name is Bryce Wayne, and I'm here to take it. Payment in full.
As she walks through the drowned city, she sees the protectors of this city, Aquaman and Mara. She notices right away the differences in this world. The fact that the rules are gender swapped, meaning that her Aqua Woman is an Aquaman here. Aquaman jumps off a shark, lunging at Bryce, and she quickly dodges out of the way, calling him slow and weak. She then throws him back as Mara approaches her and begins to use her Aqua Telekinesis, except Bryce takes control of the water, reversing her abilities on herself.
My water, my rules.
Aquaman comes up from behind with his trident ready to plunge into Bryce's back, and as she sees the determination in his eyes, she thinks back to how she got here. What turned Bryce Wayne into this monster? It was on Earth, -11. 18 months after Bryce had hunted down the murderer of her love and ended the rogue Metis. That was when Aqua Woman stood with an army of Atlanteans and attacked. She claimed to have come in peace, but Bryce knew better. They were more rogue Metas, a threat to everything that they hold dear. And so she attacked them. She didn't trust them. Her gut was always correct. The Atlanteans were vicious, and therefore Bryce brought the rage to them. She ran Aqua Woman's trident through her own gut to tear out her own innards. But that didn't stop them. The Atlanteans saw this as an act of war, and they pushed on, invading and flooding whole areas of the seaboard towns. They drowned Gotham, so Bryce used her knowledge and abilities to merge her DNA with Atlantean DNA. She needed to bring the fight to them, breathe underwater, grow stronger, control it, and then she created an army. She called them Dead Water, all so that she could win this war.
And thanks to me, we did. The price was a new way of life for the victors, a drowned world. So I lit a lamp to shine across the darkness of the deep, a light to signal hope and victory. And one night, that signal fell dark. When I went to repair it, he was waiting for me, the one who laughs.
You don't trust anything, do you, Bryce? Nothing at all. This world is done because of it.
He was right. I never trust anyone or anything, but I trusted him.
But it's not really your fault. It's the light you see, the light up there. So the Batman who laughs showed Bryce the upper worlds, the worlds of light, and how hers was just a lower tiered world in the darkness. He also showed her the other rejected Batman, the Dark Knights, and then he laughed. You see the light up there? Right up there? How it mocks us all? It's an unsullied multiverse where all is bright and ascendant. It's why we suffer. It's why nothing can be made right. That world is the perfection that you dream. You are its nightmare. That is how the drought found her way to Amnesty Bay on Earth Zero. The dead water spews out of her mouth, covering Aquaman and Mera. Bryce's water. Bryce's rules. Aquaman calls out to Mera to warn the League, but Bryce grabs her by the throat, telling her that she's not going anywhere. She then puts the dead water into Mera, and her face begins to change as she screams. And once she stops screaming, she isn't Mera anymore. She leaves back to attack Aquaman as he panics, calling out, "What have you done to her?" But before Bryce can end this, a symbol appears overhead. What of fate and destiny. It removes Aquaman from the fight. And without her Aquaman to kill, Bryce turns on her symbol, her sight of victory.
My Amnesty Bay begins here. I light my signal, my light, to show this world my intent. I'm going to drown it all, this whole world.
This is Earth -12, back when it all started. It was supposed to be the final battle. The last battle between good and evil. We fought together, Diana. We thought it would be the end. If only we knew. The real war had just begun. These are the stories from the dark multiverse that never should be. Witness the rise of the Dark Knights. Back on Earth Zero in the current day and age, a giant mountain has sprouted out in the middle of Gotham. The being known as Barbados has invaded Earth Zero, the home of the proper Justice League. That story is in the playlist with the main members of the Justice League now missing. It is time for the U.S. government to come up with their plan, and over in the Argus headquarters sits the head of SHADE, the DEO, the Suicide Squad, and the head of the military, as they try to go over some kind of a plan that maybe they can agree on. But honestly, they don't have one, because it just boils down to dropping a large bomb that has been fused with sonic tech, chemo particles, and Kryptonian sunstones. But not everyone agrees with this plan, and they begin to argue. This is the heads of each of their departments, and they all feel that they could solve the problem themselves. But they don't get to argue for much longer as the alarms blare that there is an intruder. And in walks the Merciless, the Batman in the battle armor from the gods. He looks upon this world's generals, and he remembers what he lost in his world, and that he is here to claim this one. Look at them, playing war. Me, I've lived practically my whole life in it. I was only 8 years old when my war began, with a shot fired into a Gotham City alley. It began with an oath to myself that what happened to me would never happen again. An oath that I would wage my battle justly, with rules, with mercy, unlike my enemy. What a fool I was back then. Everyone opens fire on the Merciless, but it just bounces off of his armor as he cares not for the weapons of man. He continues his self-reflection now. Their eyes shine with fervor and fear. They have a mission, a duty, just as I did years ago. I will show them the truth! And with that thought, he cuts into the ground in front of them, and the soldiers call out that it burns. Hearing their screams, I cannot help but think of my old rules, my code. And even I have an urge to spare them, like Diana urged me to
scrub that face out.
But that moment quickly passes, and I will give them valiant deaths. Clean deaths that only a sword can deliver. Deeper in the facility, General Lane hits the button for the bombs, and he sends them at the facility that they are all in. He doesn't want to...
I don't really want to do another face, guys. All I want to do is give it like a skull mask. But if you can see what I'm trying to do there. Because I'm not great with faces, and I just don't want to have to faff around with the face. This week, I just want to sort of get the wings sorted, and the frame of the person, a little bit more clothing. Like I said, I'm going to give it like a death mask. Like
an honorable soldier.
What's that game called? Dark Souls, I think it is. Kind of like a skull mask, but only on the face. Maybe like a Jason, which I should be playing there, not this week, but next week.
It took us 2 years to get to the front line, and we found that we would kill Ares. Destroy the helmet! We never expected to win, but we did at the cost of Diana's life. Batman looked at Ares in his memories without his helmet. Ares, you're gonna pay for what you've done! And with the fire of war in his eyes, Ares looks back at Batman. Enlighten me! The fields of fire are littered with dead. All have fallen. Who are you?
Welcome to the stream. What do you think so far? I don't know if you heard my explanation of what the face is going to be. Last week I struggled so much with a face. I'm not going to do a face like normal face. I'm going to give it like a skull mask, like out of Dark Souls, something similar to that. Because I can't be bothered with a face this week. I really want to concentrate on the wings and just the person in the wings. But I'm glad you like it there with the smiley face and the stars. Thank you very much.
Trevor.
That is,
Everyone in the
I'm
war room is arguing over what they
Yitzil.
should do. Take out the whole city,
Yitzil?
spare everyone,
So if
kill the
sorry
merciless,
if I
or allow him to
mispronounced
take them
that.
prisoner.
You're listening
And the
to
merciless just
dark
takes
metal at the
them. I
moment
stare at
in the
these
background.
so-called warriors in the war
But
room.
any
They
advice
fight like
you
dogs
think
because
it
they
needs
can't
anywhere
protect themselves
changing,
from my
let me know now, guys,
You
because
expect
I'm open
too
to
much
anything,
from them,
because
Diana.
I struggled so
You
much last
expect them
week.
to
I
back
just want a
again.
little bit of
We're
help
supposed
this week.
to compromise. I miss you. He remembers back again to his own origins after he took the helmet. You would have said that I was corrupted by the helmet in the months that followed your death, killing those that I showed mercy to before, my enemies and heroes who stood against me. I would say that I was purified, that my illusions were finally, rightfully stripped away with the helmet. My whole life I've been afraid of doing what I needed to do, afraid to give myself to the battle. The helmet showed me that my codes and rules were naive, that all that truly mattered was victory. And now I would finally take that for myself. I was storming Olympus when I heard his voice, like mine, but it chilled me to the bone. What the Merciless didn't know at the time was that this is one of the darkest versions of himself. The Batman who laughed. It's a losing war, Bruce. You're playing the game right, but the rules are stacked against you. Trust me, I've been reading up. You're never going to see the end of your glorious war. You'll never be able to build
Something
a
similar
final
to
world
this.
from the ash, or prove to Diana
morning.
in the end that this scorched path was right. In a matter of minutes, this world
Something like this, but only on like the front of the face.
I've already felt its tremors. You
I just can't be bothered with faces today.
Let you peer into the
Or
hearts
cool
of
this
man.
week. I'm
Now,
doing
I
wings
might
this
not
week,
have a
guys.
heart, but you can sense who I am, can't you? You know that this isn't a trick. You know that I speak the truth. And you know that I wouldn't be here if I didn't have an
Something similar to that is what I'm trying to do here.
But
But obviously a bit more detail. I might put up a picture in a moment of that mask actually, and then see if I can actually sort of copy it maybe. This image is kind of a copy of something else, but I find copying a lot easier than actually trying to pull something straight out of my mind.
There is no war between good and evil, right or wrong. There is only the war for survival, and it is a constant and total. In the red, the weakest feels the teeth in the back of its legs, and in the green, the hungry vine creeps towards its neighbor. Our worlds were weak compared to this one, the one above. Together we would conquer it, wage war against our fate, against those that would call us nightmares. I kept my eyes on him when we arrived, as I could not look at you. Meanwhile, the team with the bomb dropped it onto the city, and there was a massive explosion, coating the whole area. Once everything was destroyed, there stood one monument, one new leader, a throne in which the Merciless sat, and at his feet kneeled the previous leaders of the government. Now they see the truth. Their precious weapon only makes me stronger. It feeds my hunger. With this helmet, I can make them fight for my amusement, but that would be merciful, and instead I'll make them watch as I conquer their world. You warned me of its power, warned me that once I put it on, I'd never be able to take it off. I love you, Diana, and I'm sorry. Sorry that you tried to take it away from me. But what was I supposed to do when I saw that you were still alive? That Ares had only stunned you. You reached for it, Diana, for the helmet, and I had to strike you down.
Don't worry about being here. I'm just,
in Smallville, Kansas,
yeah,
Jamie and John
don't
are
worry
putting on a
today.
rock show in the middle of the park. Watching this show are Bruce Wayne, Diana
just the
Prince,
ideas at the
Lois Lane,
moment.
and Clark
I
Kent.
got this far
Bruce
because I'm
takes a moment
doodling,
to
really.
Thank his friends for being there for him,
I like
helping
to draw
him fight
wings.
against his worst fears brought to life, for helping him defeat Barbados, the evil Batman that had invaded this planet. His curiosity brought one of the worst things the DC Universe had ever seen, and with the help of his friends and allies, Batman was able to defeat them and send them packing, saving this world from being overrun by the dark multiverse. Diana tells Bruce that they get it. You know, Bruce, you need a better writer for those non-brooding moments, those touchy-feely times. Bruce smirks. Okay. I might not be the most eloquent, but at least it was from the heart. I went for it, right? I mean, then everyone sees blood forming on his t-shirt, soaking through, showing the bat symbol. Clark calls out, Bruce, you're bleeding. And he tells him, Carpe diem. The hand of Barbados bursts through Bruce's chest, grabbing Clark as he calls out, not again! Then a giant Barbados crawls out of Bruce holding Superman. We beat you! We beat you! You only beat me because I let you. You see, you haven't won anything. I let you live. I wanted you to see this. Riding up from the fires nearby are the Dark Knights, twisted versions of Batman from across the dark multiverse whose sole purpose is to destroy
I've got a playlist
the universe
in the
and
background,
claim
guys,
me
so
as
you
their own. The only
get to
truth,
hear what I'm.
Superman, is that
Yeah, hear it. I play
is
this
the
while I
end.
concentrate because I'm not going to be talking too much for this stream today.
Sucking out his energy. Except this time, Wonder Woman is there to save him, pull him out of the contraption.
It's Comic Story, and if you want to go find where they are and where which stories I listen to, again, I'll leave a link down below.
Worst enemy. They've all been changed by the Devastator, a version of Batman that perfected the Doomsday virus and spread it across Metropolis so that no one could ever be hurt again. Wonder Woman explains that she knows what he is doing. He's been defeating Barbados over and over. Well, it's all been fake, Superman. Barbados has been using our despair to fuel the tower. We've been tied up for 7 days, ever since the invading force walked on this Earth. Superman asks her, where are John and Lois? Diana tells him that Lois was changed into one of those doomsday creatures, but she saved John. So Superman looks at her. Where is Barbados? Diana tries to stop him, but Superman flies at top speed to the location to fight a twisted and horrific enemy. A version of Batman shrouded in a cloak with snakes that appear to have the Joker's head surrounding him. At his feet are people whose energies are being drained, leaving them as skeletons, wanting more. And a booming voice, the one of the villain in question, asks, do you see Clark Kent? Just as with Smallville, in the end, all roads lead back to the dark. The darkness envelops Superman so that he can't see anything, and then he hears Batman's voice calling out to him, followed by the fist of the Devastator as he punches him. The origins of this Batman are in another video, but suffice to say, he is merged with Doomsday, containing the power of one of the beings that can kill Superman. The punch launched Superman into Gotham, where he landed in Crime Alley, and outsteps the Batman who laughs with his Jokerized Robin children. Superman looks at him. If you're a Batman, then there has to be good in you somewhere. The Batman who laughs, whose origins are in another video, tells him, Clark, that's exactly what you said before I killed you and your family of my worlds. Then the Devastator appears again, spearing Superman and pummeling him. Every Dark Knight begins to arrive, from Red Death to Godkiller to Murder Machine and the Drowned, all here to kill the Superman of this world and stop their greatest threat. When suddenly the symbol of Dr. Fate appears and outruns the Flash, grabbing Superman and running him back inside. They run between the fates and the threads of reality until they arrive in the bar. The Oblivion Bar, where all of the survivors are currently hiding. Flash, Hal Jordan, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman are all here from when Dr. Fate picked them up at the end of the Dark Knight's origin stories. All are in the playlist linked down below, but after they were all separated, here is where they arrived, to come up with a way to win in this day. Superman looks around at his defeated friends, wondering what happened, and Nightwing steps forward, telling Superman, it's simple, we lost. Nightwing, Robin, Green Arrow, and Harley Quinn are all from the Gotham Resistance storyline. And they have the answer, which they discovered in that storyline.
Keep tuned, guys, because this is a one big playlist. He's just explaining in the background.
Winter King. Nightwing explains the Dark Knights are too powerful. That we need to fight them, Superman says heroically. And Nightwing tells them, Green Lantern tried. Flash tried. Cyborg was lost when he tried. Then the Teen Titans and Suicide Squad, they're both gone. Green Arrow steps up. But this metal, the Imp metal, hurts them. We found it in Gotham. We just need more. So Dr. Fate steps up. There are pieces of Imp metal still floating around that we can recover. Steel's helmet, Plastic Man's egg are 2 pieces. And Mr. Terrific confirms it, that the egg is vibrating at the frequency of Imp metal. Using this, he can track the other pieces beneath Atlantis, in deep space, in the center of the multiverse. Wonder Woman decides that they'll split up, with some of them taking the metal-sensitive people to each location to track the Imp metal. They will go to the location in space. They will go to Atlantis. But when she says that, Aquaman tells them that he can't go there. It's inaccessible. While Hal and Arthur begin to argue over the laws of Atlantis and his place, Mr. Terrific tells them that he is getting a third reading, one from within the dark multiverse. Superman steps up. That's Batman. He's the key to all of this. We need to go back and get... Batman kept saying something in my dreams, something that didn't quite track. It means that he's alive. Everyone, of course, wants to know why something that Batman said in the dream means that he's alive. So Superman explains that when the Trinity formed, Batman, Wonder Woman, and himself had a code, a private SOS. It's the alphabetical Trinity. And he said, Carpe Diem. It could be him reaching out through the dreams. Nightwing tells him that he felt something too. Batman was trying to reach out when they were in Gotham. But I say that we stay here and fight. Robin calls him a bastard, but Nightwing explains as much as he loves Batman, they need to save this world, or there is nothing for him to come back to. Besides, they only have 3 metal-sensitive people. They would need 4 if they're going to go into the dark multiverse. Then one of the Jokerized Robins appears and is stabbed into the wall as Deathstroke steps forward, and Wonder Woman tells them, this is our fourth. His armor and his sword are crafted for Prometheus. So we have Dr. Fate's helmet, Steel's helmet, Plastic Man's egg, and Deathstroke's weapons, each able to track a metal signal, and with that they are able to get the weapons to defeat the Dark Knights. Since the location of the Oblivion Bar has been obviously revealed as a Jokerized Robin appeared, everyone begins to feel the rumble of the Dark Knights arriving, and everyone splits up and Dr. Fate sends them on their journeys. Wonder Woman takes Kendra and Dr. Fate to the Rock of Eternity at the center of the multiverse, while Mr. Terrific and Hal Jordan take the Plastic Man egg to deep space. Aquaman and Deathstroke make their way to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, and Superman takes Steel and the Flash to the Fortress of Solitude, where the tuning fork that Batman put there is still located, the one that allows them entrance into the dark multiverse. As they prep the device, Flash asks, what does Carpe Diem even mean? And Superman explains that the code is simple. It's based on their names. If Superman was in trouble, he would call D and B for Diana and Bruce. Diana would call B and C for Bruce and Clark. And Bruce would call C and D for Clark and Diana. So Carpe Diem is his way of calling out. The Flash is a little iffy on that, but he helps Superman anyway, and they run at the right frequency at top speeds to open up the door. Superman flies through it, crossing between dimensions, and he hits insane speeds, thinking to himself that this is it. He has solved the whole thing. There's no way that this could be a trap. As he exits into the vast, dark multiverse to see all of the drained Supermen bound to a massive tower, and they begin to grab and pull him down, calling out that they've been waiting for him. He then hears it, Bruce asking why he came here. Why is it that he showed up after he warned him? At the start of the dream, Damian and John played the reverse of the code. It was the only way to get the message out. D and C notes. He was trying to warn Superman not to come here. Barbados needed Superman to complete the circuit so that he could sink the world into darkness. This was all a trap to get Superman attached to this giant battery. Meanwhile, back at the Fortress of Solitude, a message was shot out by Cyborg, the same Cyborg that has been missing ever since the murder machine arrived and stole his body. He manages to get it out to the League, Flash, Hal, Aquaman, and Diana. They are out of time. The Dark Knights are here and they're coming for them. Weird-looking boom tubes begin to form across the galaxy, sucking in the League members, leaving the others to find the metals. Hal, Diana, and Aquaman are all grabbed and removed from their teams. But back at the Fortress of Solitude, Flash and Steel stand there as their window opens up and out drops Murder Machine and Devastator. Steel looks at them. You know, I never really liked Batman. And Flash looks at him. Well, you just gotta get to know him, and you're about to get 2 chances. Murder Machine quickly disables the suit that Steel is wearing, and then Devastator destroys the tuning fork that allows access to the dark multiverse. With plans to
just taking a picture, guys, for Instagram. Bear with me.
Superman and Batman are now trapped on the other side, and Steel tells him to get out and find help. So the Flash takes off at top speed with a crack-a-boom. But the whole thing was a trap that the Flash went into their boom tube, which spits him out of the central city. He sees Iris and Wally old and aged by the Speed Force storm. And then as he's reassuring them that he'll save the day, the ground beneath him splits open and he falls into a cave. Everyone in the League is in one of these caves. Hal, Aquaman, Diana, and Flash. And the voice of Bruce reassures them. Everything's gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay. Flash asks if he's here to help, and Bruce tells them, I am. Let me the light. They all realize that they're in bad caves, each built by a Dark Knight to destroy their enemies, and the voice continues. But it's not the Bruce that we know. It's the Batman who laughed. I know I'm not exactly the Bruce that you're hoping for, but I'm Bruce. We all are. Let me remind you of a story that we all have in common. On my world, I developed a way to eliminate the League, and then they found out and they were disappointed in me. I betrayed their trust. It was a dark time for the League, but in all honesty, it's not the worst that I could do. So imagine 7 Bruce Waynes putting their heads together. What horror we would be capable of if we were to say develop separate murderous bat caves meticulously designed.
You can go get your coffee a minute while I sort this out.
So I hope you appreciate our work, because you're all going to die here. The Flash is a runner on the cave, noticing that the sand everywhere as it moves and adapts to its running patterns. Red Death explains that his cave is filled with millions of nanites that are responding to whatever he wants, creating a quicksand-type substance. He then explains that on his Earth, the Flash is always in a hurry, never stopping long enough to connect on a case or a mission. Here in this cave, though, Red Death and the Flash, we have all the time in the world, Barry. As the sand-like substance parts, the Flash sees Red Death.
New Flash series is coming out soon, guys. 2 or 3 days left now. Can't wait for that
Flash
one.
tells him, come on, I can outrun any car
My son
you
loved
built,
watching that on the
Bruce. And
Sunday.
Red Death tells him, come on, Barry, you know me. I'm a billionaire. I didn't just build one. With that, the sand rumbles again, showing multiple cars and bikes, and the race begins. Meanwhile,
If you superheroes, guys, are going to be playing Spider-Man again tonight.
She does so, riding
It's Miles' first day, so don't forget to tune in for that one.
Asks the Drowned, you think that your revenge on me will bring back those that you love? And he uses his aqua telepathy on the sea monster. But it doesn't seem to work, as the Drowned asks him, do you not recognize your love? Don't you recognize Mara? and Mara the sea monster charges in to devour Aquaman with a shocked and horrified look on his face. Meanwhile, the Batcave built around ancient gods and worn weapons. The God Killer stands before Wonder Woman. They lock arms, and Wonder Woman calls out that no matter his power, he is still Bruce Wayne, and he will not defeat an Amazon warrior. He then flings her to the ground using her own moves against her, and she is just in shock and awe. She is left in disbelief. Who taught you this? I would die before I taught you that move. And he approaches her. You did. Wonder Woman gets back up, swinging her sword at the God Killer, demanding the truth as he clobbers her with his hammer. And he continues to explain, on my world, I collected all of the coins that your deceased sisters would have used to cross the river Styx, and I reforged them into a weapon of my own. So now, you will join the sisterhood once again, as the zombie Amazons rise before Wonder Woman. Over with Hal Jordan, he begins to recite his oath in an attempt to lighten up the cave. And the Dawnbreaker steps out telling him, your oath is worthless in my cave. And the worst part of all of this is Cyborg can't help anyone. Because the secret weapon that the Dark Knights have against the Justice League is Cyborg himself. Back in the Nightmare Batcave of the Dawnbreaker, he uppercuts Hal, throwing him off his game. Looking around, Hal can't see him. The Dark won't save you, Dawnbreaker. I've waited so long to be alone with you, Hal. Hal snickers as the Dawnbreaker comes in, smacking him down. Something amuses you. You, little Bruce, if that's what you call yourself in whatever sewer of a universe you come out of, you are funny. You think I fear you? You think bringing me here and showing me a few spooky voices is going to scare me? Our Batman is smarter. All you've done is get me fired up. And Hal hits him with a blast, except it vanishes into the darkness. Ah, your ring can absorb light. I'll give that one. It sure is new. Ring strobe. With that, Hal's position is blocked by a flashing light that the Dawnbreaker's ring is having problems absorbing. He begins dodging the Dawnbreaker's moves as he taunts them, telling him, I've killed Kyle, Guy, John, and even some of the Guardians. No one was enough to stop me from avenging my parents' murder. What makes you think that you can, Hal? Because, Bruce, and with that, Hal appears with a giant construct battlesuit, smacking Dawnbreaker down. You can never fly with me. He begins to throw him down again. This is for Guy. And then he tosses him into the ceiling. And Kyle! And then he crushes him again. And John! And with that, Dawnbreaker vanishes into the darkness again. Hal begins to float around looking for him. You stepped up to the mic with your emo crap, but I'm here to rock. Then by all means, Hal, play! So Hal cuts off his strobe effect and allows the willpower to grow. To boom! To become him! And he explains, my ring, Dawnbreaker, this one wasn't given to me. I made it. Forged of my own willpower. I don't wear it, I am it. I blew up War World. I came back from the afterlife and rescued gods. And now, I'm gonna burn you out. Using the darkness from his own ring, Dawnbreaker forms up every villain of Hal's for him to fight, all to cause him fear and dismay. But Hal Jordan looks at them all. Who's next? But in the end, as with all of the League members, the Dark Knights prevail, and the Dawnbreaker drags him out of the cave. He brings him to the rebuilt tuning fork where we see all of the League members defeated and being carried to it, being strapped to be sucked of their energy. And once again, their secret weapon, Cyborg. He sits helpless as the murder machine tries to tap into the Element X in his computer systems, because once the Dark Knights have Element X, they win. And where is Cyborg? He's in his own mind, trapped there, trying to battle against Murder Machine's programming. But there's something else in his systems, something that maybe the Dark Knights weren't planning on. The Mother Box, a device born of Apocalypse, Darkseid, and the New Gods. This device seemingly has unlimited amounts of power and can do anything from teleport you across the multiverse to turning you into a god. Cyborg's core programming was built from a Mother Box, and now it is warning him that he needs to stop fighting the Mother Box programming. He has to allow it to absorb him, to become the true multiverse warrior that he is meant to be. He just needs to remove his human side and accept all of the Mother Box. Become the multiverse's guardian. The entire multiverse is at stake if the Dark Knights win. And Victor Stone begins to wonder if this is what he should do, if this is his fate, until another voice can be heard. Someone calling out to him, don't do it, Victor. Listen to me. My connection to you won't last long, but you can't give up, Victor. I've been watching you, and you feed off of your own failures. Build on them. The Dark Knights want you because of the Mother Box, but you having the Mother Box isn't what makes you special. It's your heart. Don't give in. Don't give up. I'm here for you. Victor thinks about that voice, and he considers merging with the Mother Box. And then he simply says, ping. Out at the tuning fork, the Alfred protocol begins to fade away as the Murder Machine's connection is broken and fading. Because behind them they hear, boom! You wanted to dismantle me for the Element X. Mother Box wanted to erase me and become me. But you know what? I'll always be Victor. And now, Dark Knight, you have to deal with Cyborg 1 million, baby. And I need my team. With that, he frees the Justice League members, breaking Murder Machine protocols even further. Murder Machine looks at him. Cyborg is using his connection to the Mother Box to draw his power directly out of the multiverse. The League all begins to prep up, and now you have to fight us because you tried to ambush us, and we don't fight alone. The music begins to blare with the Batman Who Laughs asking, "What is that music?" Cyborg lets the energy flow. I'm blasting my theme song through my speakers. I play it whenever I want to get the team pumped up when the ball was at the 1-yard line. He smiles at the Dark Knights. Hike! They all leap into battle against the Dark Knights as the Batman Who Laughs reminds them. Each of these Batmen defeated the entire League in their world, so this League doesn't stand a chance. But as the League is pushing back the Dark Knights, Cyborg reminds them that winning the game isn't about having a strong team on the field. It's about a strong bench. And with that, Dr. Fate, Deathstroke, Mr. Terrific, and Kendra all warp in through a boom tube to the battle. They continue to battle as Dr. Fate tells Cyborg, "Everyone is free. We should leave while we still can before we get captured again." But Cyborg tells him, "Hold up, I gotta find the person who helped me." He looks around and he sees Raven, trapped in a cage, and he tells her, "I came for you." She looks up, with sadness in her eyes. "Please tell me you didn't give in to the Mother Box, Victor. Please tell me you were you, because if you did, if you resisted, I have hope." "You're a lot stronger than you think, Raven, but let's get you out of here, because together, clearly, you and I are stronger." He pulls her out of the cage and he embraces her in the middle of the battle. Hal looks over. "All right, are we done with the hugs?" And Aquaman follows up. "For once, I agree with the Lantern." Cyborg pulls everyone close and tells them, "My new multiversal upgrade allowed Raven to talk to me, but it also showed me what these Batmen are. Ghosts of dying worlds. They aren't Batman's fears, they are his regrets. You have to know, Dark Knights, that what Barbados promised you isn't possible. You can't bring back dead worlds." So the Batman Who Laughs steps up, and perhaps Master should give you his sales pitch himself. Then above them all booms Barbados himself. "All roads lead to darkness." Cyborg holds up his hand, activating a boom tube. "Then we're taking a detour." He sucks the team into the hyper-time space between the multiverse, but it only works for a second before depositing them back out on Earth. Wonder Woman steps up. "Since the Dark Knights are looking for us, let's use this time wisely and get back to finding the pieces of the metal." And Cyborg tells her, "Hang on, I'll take Flash and Raven. I've got an idea for a Hail Mary pass. We're gonna hack the multiverse." As everyone heads off on their missions, the Batman Who Laughs closes out our town. "Even on this world, the Justice League needs a Batman to help them find hope in the darkness, to know that they can win. I'm glad that I could be that Batman for them. They believe that they have a chance, and now the Justice League are unknowingly spreading your darkness across the universe, Barbados. Shouldn't they know by now? All roads lead back to Barbados." I should have seen it from the beginning. I should have seen through the bright colors, those friendly eyes, the Boy Scout grin. I should have known what you were doing to me and what you were doing to all of us. You told us all to love each other, to tear down the walls that kept us from trusting each other. We wanted to believe you. We wanted, more than anything, to believe that the strongest man in the world was there to save us, that we could let go of our fear and hope again. And then we see in the snow the Devastator, a version of Batman that's been injected with the Doomsday virus, and right now he has crushed Firestorm, Wally West, and both Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz. As the Devastator is crushing Lobo, he continues to think back on his thoughts of Superman. Because while everyone thought Superman was hope, they were wrong. I remind myself that this isn't my world, our world. But I see the same echoes everywhere I look. Barbados tasked me with a crucial mission to retrieve the cosmic tuning fork underneath the Fortress of Solitude and bring it to Gotham City. If you're just now joining us, Barbados is the being that started the incursion of the dark multiverse into the proper DC universe. He's leading the invasion, and the tuning fork is a device that Batman held that allows people to go into the multiverse. The heroes came here to stop Devastator, treating the Fortress of Solitude, the location of the tuning fork, like it was hallowed ground. But Devastator took them all down one by one. Now, with only Lobo standing, he takes a swing, telling the Devastator, "I hate to see what your Robin looks like. You don't impress me, Lobo. You depress me. On my world, you are one of the most fiercely independent and dangerous beings in the universe, and here you stand with compassionate fools." The Devastator throws the hook into Lobo's chest, and he begins to spin him around over his head. "The rot goes deep in this sick, sad world, doesn't it? I'm here to burn it out of you." And he throws Lobo into the sun. Hope is like a virus, Clark. It forces people to let their guards down. It blinds them until they can't fight back anymore. But this isn't the first place the Devastator went. He went to Metropolis the day before this, where he ran into Lois Lane of the Daily Planet. He shook her hand with the intention of spreading something known as the Doomsday Virus, which infects and changes people into Doomsday monsters. Lois looked at Bruce as he was changing into Doomsday and asked him, what did he do on his world? He replied as Devastator, telling her, I made it so that he could never hurt me again. I need you to listen to me, Lois. I wanted to do what I never could on my world. I wanted to save you from him. That's when we see exactly how it went down on Earth -1, the world where Batman became infected with the virus. He remembers it so vividly because it was one of the most frightening moments, as no one knew how it had even happened. Was it a solar storm that altered Superman's mind? Was it Darkseid or Mr. Mind or a new type of kryptonite? Something turned him against everyone. The superheroes spent weeks trying to find the answers because they knew in their hearts that this destructive force that was killing everyone couldn't be Superman. He was the best hope. He was the best of them. He would never tear down buildings with his bare hands for sport. They tried and they tried to save Superman, and it wasn't until he killed his own wife and child that Batman finally realized they had to stop Superman. As he stood over Batman with the kryptonite spear laying nearby and blood coming out of his mouth, he looked at him. I never understood how the other Leaguers would stand in the shadows talking about how you could beat me, Bruce. I could split you in half. I could freeze you with a breath. I could break every bone in your body. And what do you have? A spear? Do you understand how weak you all are to me? Yes, damn it, I do. And now you won't hurt me again. It was at that moment that Batman injected himself with the Doomsday Virus, changing himself into the one being that could kill Superman. He worried that he would stop in the end, that he wouldn't kill Superman because they were friends. But as the bone armor formed around him, his heart hardened, and it felt great to pummel the Man of Steel. He breathed kryptonite gas into Superman's mouth, and the bone shards all jutted out of his body, killing him. The kicker is that he could have used this virus to save the whole world, give it to everyone to protect them from Superman, but in the end, it was too late. Most of the world was dead and gone. And that's when a certain other evil Batman arrived. The Batman who left. There's something so satisfying in hearing that particular death battle, isn't there? I think we all know a few ways to bring a big blue Boy Scout down, but we never really think that we'll have to use them until it's too late. You're from a broken planet that was never meant to be, but I want to give you a second chance. This whole place, it's going to crumble away into cosmic nothing in the next few minutes. What if I told you that there's a world where everyone still loves and trusts Superman, where they think they...
Hi, I'm Keith. I'd love to show you the Microsoft Surface Go, the latest member of the modern...
He's going to save the day no matter what happens. But what if I said to you, the great big plan meant showing everyone what he really is? Back on Earth Zero in the current day, the Doomsday Virus is beginning to jump from person to person in Metropolis. Then Supergirl, Superwoman, and Guardian all arrive. Supergirl looks at this Doomsday Batman, telling him, I don't know what you are, but you're in Superman territory. He responds by throwing Supergirl into Superwoman, and the battle begins, but Lois takes this chance to run back to her apartment that her, Clark, and John all live in. She has a son to think about. She shows up with a hoodie to hide her face as she is changing into a Doomsday Lois, and she sees him watching the battle with the Super Family and Doomsday. But before he can jump in, she tells him to go into the room in the back. It's their panic room, and it will seal so tight that Superman himself can't even get in. And then she locks herself on the outside of it. All of Metropolis is turning into Doomsday, and so is she. Superman will hurt no one again. And so this brings us back to the Fortress of Solitude, where Devastator has destroyed everyone protecting it, and he's walked in. He picks up the tuning fork, jumping into the sky, moving into Gotham, where the next stage of Barbados' plan can begin. The very foundation of reality is about to be torn asunder and be broken. Because of the Dark Knight's worlds are doomed, so should this world. It should be broken. Out in the dark multiverse sits all of the Supermen that Barbados has conquered, all pinned to his device to allow the multiverse to be broken. And at the end, I hope you understand the truth, Clark. I hope you somehow hear my voice from your prison in the heart of the dark multiverse. I hope you feel my hate, because you did this like you did it to my world, like you do it to every world. You made them believe. You fooled them into thinking that you would always be there for them, to save them, to lift them up, to make them better. And that belief is exactly what will drag your entire world into devastation. I know you're scared right now. You don't need to pretend. I can see you trembling. You don't know why I brought you here, but you know the answer can't be good. And you're right, it's not. In front of us is the Batman who left. A man with the face paint of the Joker and a spiked helmet obscuring his eyes. He is clad in leather, and a table full of cards lays out in front of him. You really thought you had it all figured out, that you knew every combination in the deck, and it would thrill you every time that you were right. When a hand came down in a familiar pattern and a familiar story about an outsider who could see the good in us all, about how we all have the power to fight for what's right, or how we can all overcome our darkest moments. But this isn't any of those stories. There are familiar parts, but they're all in the wrong places. There's nothing more frightening than when all of the cards lay out on the table just right, and then another card comes and changes the story. There's no way to know what's going to happen next. So, let's tell you the story of how the Twisted Batman came into existence. And this story, it begins on Earth -22. In this world, Gotham is burning with explosions going off everywhere, and one insane man, is standing over Batman looking down at him. As an explosion goes off yet again, he speaks. Which one was it?
That keeps snapping.
Mercy Hospital, or maybe
down to
Gotham General? It's hard to keep the chaos straight this late in the game. Batman is on his knees, bound up and bleeding. He's also not replying. Oh, come on. You have to get into the spirit of this kind of thing. I made sure that the drugs wouldn't affect your mind and just paralyze your body. Batman struggles to get out some words. Look, I know this wasn't very hard for you. It's hard on both of us. Do you have any idea how many charts you need to coordinate to systematically kill an entire city? Well, I guess you wouldn't, because that's your one rule, isn't it? No killing, you and your pals. Like good old Jim Gordon.
B-E-A,
I heard him telling you over the radio to bring me
beautiful,
and
my
find the fucking Batman.
pen
And
is
when I
off the
finally got to him,
lid.
he understood. I saw it in his face, in his eyes. You know, before they dissolved. He called for his girl in the end, but it was hard to hear as his jaw was melting. But I understood. You see, Batman, you and I, we need to evolve. No more by the book. I burned that thing. I just want to find the breaking point. It has to exist, Bruce. I know it does. He kicks over Batman, throwing on his coat and pulling out a pistol as a couple with a young child is presented in front of him. Oh, look at that. It's a young family heading back from the theater. Batman struggles. George, no. And Joker takes aim. Oh, I know what happens next. And he shoots both of the parents in the face. He then takes a knee beside the girl. Welcome to the brand new Gotham! Tears begin to flow down her face, and then her eyes go wide, and her frown turns upside down. A grin with a pale white face, and he laughs, and she laughs with him loudly as she runs off into the city. We then see a line of families and children, and they're all being forced to walk to the Joker so that Batman can watch this happen over and over again. And that's when it happens, the moment that Batman finally breaks. He uses everything he has to stand up, breaking his bindings, and he shouts, Joker! The Joker grins at him. Never! I'll never stop! Batman jumps on him, forcing him to the ground as if he gets a punch him repeatedly over and over with blood flying into the air. But in the end, Batman doesn't kill him. You still don't have it in you, do you, Bruce? Do you? No, it's gonna be you and me forever! So Batman grabs him in a chokehold, shouting, Stop! As he does, he breaks the Joker's neck. With one twisted final grin on his face, he has nothing more
I've got
to say
pencils
except
that
for
actually
coming out of his
use
lungs.
old-fashioned
2
ways.
days passed, and all of the poor children that were infected by the Joker's gas are being kept in a warehouse as Batman and Superman look over them. Batman explains that he's doing everything in his power to ensure that they find a cure, while the doctors say that they are all beyond saving. It's not possible. Batman believes that no one is beyond saving. Superman turns to him, telling him, I'll administer the cure myself. This afternoon, one of the psychologists tried, but one of the children bit into her throat. Batman thinks on that, and he chuckles, just a little. Ah! Superman turns back to look at him, and Batman stops himself. I'm sorry, that wasn't funny. 3 more days pass, and Batgirl, Nightwing, Red Robin, and Red Hood are in the training simulator in the cave and have been for 3 hours. They all begin to question the fact that it's been set to the highest settings and that they're all here. And that's when Batman stops to inform them that he's been stalling, hiding the truth from them. When he killed the Joker, he was infected by some strange strain of the Joker toxin that was locked away in his heart, trapped in his cells, harmless unless he died. It's the most volatile strain that he's ever seen, and has been rewiring his brain to make Batman more like the Joker. If the process completes, his highly ordered mind, his moral code will be replaced by something evil. It was his last wish that whoever killed him would become him. All of the Bat family explains that they want to help Bruce. They want to figure this out. They can do something. And he smiles. No, that won't work. They continue telling him that they'll win the day. They always do. They prepared for what if Batman turned evil. And he turns his back to them, reaching into his cape. I know. That's why I brought you all here. Because you would be the first to notice if something went wrong with me and be able to stop it. And I'm sorry, but I can't allow that. So I did something you weren't prepared for. He turned around with 2 automatic weapons, shooting all 4 of them with a twisted grin on his face. 1 more week passes and we go to the Watchtower where the entire league is dead on the ground. Wonder Woman, the Flash, Red Tornado, Martian Manhunter are all dead in a bloody mess, with Superman being the only survivor, but his eyes affected by something. You know, I've been thinking a lot these last few days about the man that I once was. I just walked through the Justice League trophy room and it struck me how many weapons we've gathered over the years. I remember how I justified bringing them here. You thought they should all be destroyed, but I pushed. I wanted to know how they worked. And I do, Superman. How to operate doomsday machines that can level entire cities in seconds. And now my mind is right, and I wanted to use them. I wanted to use each and every one of them on you. But why, Bruce? Why did you do this? Because I wanted to, Superman. Hell, I'm disappointed that I can only do it this once. Do you realize how many ways I know how to kill you? Superman looks at him. The people, they'll see you for what you are and fight back. Oh, they better, Clark. Because it wouldn't be fun if they didn't fight back. Superman hears his family calling out to him, Lois and John both there, and John yelling out, the same problem with his eyes. Why don't you pull that old Superman trick of yours? Tell them it'll all be all right. And then it finally completes the full transformation as Batman's voice changes. The good guys always win in the end. I won't cheapen what I stand for. I won't lie to my family. Oh, it's okay. You can lie to mine. That's when we see the children that were affected running out of the shadows and Damian walking forward. Father, can I play with John now? Superman sees him. You did this to your own son. It actually only took a little push. He did it to himself. It gave me the idea of what I was going to do to you. He holds him a black rock. You see this as a modified version of the black kryptonite. And when I gave it to Supergirl, she ripped her family apart before I killed her. Lois looks at him. Bruce, you don't have to do this. Oh, I know. Catch. He throws it at them, and that's when we hear Superman and John both try to fight it, telling Lois to stand back. And we hear the breaking of bones and the snapping of flesh. Batman turns his back to the mess and he draws, with blood, a smile on the wall while he laughs. He goes on to tell the story of how the armies fought against him, but every time he would win. He would figure out how to fight back, and once the world was ash under his feet, it felt right, like he had served his greater purpose. Barbados then stood before him, offering him more. The dark multiverse, the light multiverse, the main DC universe, where the heroes have hope and stand together. Batman Who Laughs sits in front of a banged-up man, explaining these stories after all of these events. He's been telling him each of the dark multiverse stories, and he struggles to talk through the bandages. But this Batman laughs. The heroes are nearly dead already. Their cities have fallen. This whole world has begun to sunk into the infinite dark below. How could it get worse? What else could we have up our sleeves? You want to see, don't you, what we have planned next? But you're terrified of what it might be. Let me show you. They're coming. Every nightmare the multiverse has ever had. They're armed and ready for the invasion, waiting for the door to be opened. When I was Bruce Wayne, I thought that with enough preparation, I could always win. I was trapped in an unwinnable war of refusing to see the answers right in front of my face. You need to adapt, and to adapt, you need to be able to laugh away your restraints. You see, the Batman Who Laughs is a Batman who always wins! I see you, says the elderly Bruce Wayne sitting in a chair in his study. He glances over at the door where his granddaughter is poking her head in. Grandpa Bruce, you always ruin the surprise. When you're 78 years old, let's see how much surprises you, my dear. Why don't you run along and play with your cousins? And outside of the study, we see all the other children running around the mansion. I don't want to play with them. I want to hear a story. Bruce glances down and he tells her, all right, Janet. How about the one where Zorro faced the terrible governor and won his beautiful niece's heart? No, Grandpa, not an imaginary story, a real one. Bruce perks up a little. A real one, eh? Well, why not go to the shelf and pull out your favorite Batman story? I'll tell it to you. She walks over to a shelf where we see various mementos from his time as Batman. From a figurine to photos, and she looks above them at the journals of the Batman. Her finger runs across the binding until it stops on the case of the Chemical Syndicate. He looks at the book and he tells her, this one's kind of a boring tale back from when I started being a hero. Why not go with something more exciting, like The Long Halloween? No, Grandpa. Everyone has their favorite Batman story, and this is mine. Oh, very well. He opens the book, glancing at the pages, but is stopped. That's strange. This isn't how I remember it starting. Don't be silly, Grandpa. This is exactly how it started. Yeah, that's right. What was I thinking? And his granddaughter lay her head on his chest as she sets in for a long night of stories. It all started with a window and a scream lost in the dark. He goes on to explain the story of a man who had a gun and he threw the battering to knock it loose. He explained that he was there to help, so the man pointed him to the window splattered with blood, and he went to investigate. That's when Grandpa Bruce stops. Blood. This is not how it happened. Yes, Grandpa, there was always blood. See? And as she says that, Bruce Wayne doesn't find himself in the study anymore. He's no longer holding his granddaughter. He's on a cliff and a loincloth, looking out at all of the tribes of the birds and the bats fighting. Blood is flying in the air, and he asks, "Where the hell am I?" A woman in a cloak stands behind him. At the beginning, Batman. The beginning of your story. That's not right. I know the beginning of my story. Good. And you should know the player as well. She motions to the fighting down where she continues. The young hero, leader of the Bat Tribe, half set. I know that name. Like I said, Batman, you know your own story. The Bird Tribe knows what half set will bring to this world. The darkness whispered into his ear. The leaders of the Bird Tribe intend to stop him, Hawkman and Hawkgirl. But they will repeat this cycle for many lives. It has set into motion a war that will span all of human history. The war of the birds and the bats. Batman turns and he walks into a cave. No, this is all wrong. This is from another story entirely. The two stories are one. Don't you see it? Don't you understand? They always have been. Don't you see, when you arrived at this time, pursued by the cosmic horrors, it saw you inspire a tribe of man, all bearing his great symbol. When you died and fell into the time stream, he saw you at the beginning, and Barbados wants to use his ultimate vessel. If you're curious about that story, it's the final crisis story when Batman died. And then I have a video called Batman in Time when he traveled through the time.
Don't interrupt.
Time stream. Anyway, let's continue with Batman, the Lost. Batman screams out as he now finds himself in his uniform standing in the desert. He is now in an unknown future, far from the dawn of man and the start of all of this. He knows where he is and what is happening now as he repeats to himself the mantra that keeps him sane. You are trapped in the dark multiverse. You need to find a way out. Many people see Batman and they run to him, calling out for the Batman to save them. And then they are shot down by the Hawk Patrol led by Damian Wayne. Damian looks at him. I told you not to come back, Father. Open fire. As the Hawk Patrol begins to shoot on Batman, he finds himself elsewhere, in the study, telling a story to his granddaughter, Janet. She wakes him up because he fell asleep. But as he tells the story and he continues to go on, she corrects him, telling him what actually happened, until eventually she asks him, "What's wrong, Grandpa?" This isn't the story that I want to tell anymore. He snaps out of the reality that he is in and he finds himself climbing down a ladder into a cult room where he stands as Bruce Wayne holding a knife. The men in the room exclaim that they are summoning Barbados. He is coming. And with the fire burning around them, Bruce sees the sacrifice and he runs to her side to save her. But as she sits up, she tells him she is destined to die. She is here to help bring Barbados forth. And Batman cries out, "Enough!" He finds himself in an alleyway with spotlights in his eyes and friends nearby. A Green Arrow that he doesn't recognize and a Batgirl that is new. He calls out that he needs to find the dimensional doorway, the dimensional window. And the dark multiverse wants him to go deeper, but he needs to rise up, rise out of the dark multiverse. But with each of these worlds that he falls into, it's another universe in the dark multiverse. He is tumbling, spiraling throughout the entire dark multiverse, and none of these places are happy places. As the Joker gang gets ready to fight, he stands tall, telling them, "I'm not running anymore." And that's when he finds himself in the early days yet again, with his purple forensic gloves and a man falling into a vat of chemicals. He then finds himself as Alan Wayne, overlooking the city of Gotham as a Talon from the Court of the Owls stabs him. He then runs out into the street in a robe, crying out that he is Bruce Wayne. He fights crying with Superman and Wonder Woman. He falls into an open manhole cover as the descent into madness continues. He finds himself in space, and then he breaks out of the space station that he is in with Harley Quinn, as his granddaughter tells him, "Grandpa, you're messing up the story." Batman begins to realize what's going on. Like hell I am. I'm getting out of here. And he finds himself in the original story again. I'm Batman and I am lost in the dark multiverse, but I always win and I will this time. I will find a way out. And his granddaughter shouts, "No!" We find ourselves back in the study with the elderly Bruce Wayne and his granddaughter Janet. Don't change it, Grandpa. It's too scary that way. I don't want you to. It has to change. I have to get to the end. And the granddaughter grabs the book. I'll show you the goddamn end! She tears the book out of his hands, jumping to the ceiling with red eyes and long twisted limbs. Batman calls out, "Come down and face me. Behind it all, Bruce. Look behind it. Don't you see? I see nothing. I know what you see. Behind it all, you see dark birds and bats working together to shape you from your first case. Beyond it all, you see worlds where you fail fighting as you do now. Fail for doing more. Fail for doing less. You see the dark, empty truth of yourself. The answer to your first and last case." Batman looks around the room until he finds himself in the window. "Where are you?" And the reflection looks back at him smiling. "Oh, I'm right here. You, Barbados, you twist my story. I made your story. I've always been here, right in this window. I saw you when you fell through time, a hero who'd taken my form, made it into a symbol of hope, a perfect wagon, and I shaped you, my tribe. Then the owls, my dark birds, they shaped your history, your family, your life, your city. No, you're a demon. I'm the Bat, Bruce. I am the Bat!" Bruce Wayne punches at the window. "I am the Bat, and I am your father. I made you believe that you could solve your first case. I helped you over and over, made you into the hero that you are. All so you could be my great wagon when I took you. Shut up, I'll get out. No, you won't. You've already been trapped here for years, decades, trapped with me and the truth." Batman leaps out the window shouting, "No!" And in front of him is the entire dark multiverse, the worlds of death and destruction in the name of Batman. And the god of it all, standing over Bruce, is what appears to be Barbatos. Yes, the truth is you are nothing without me. You are plain, less than plain. This place, my realm, is full of worlds created from fears and failings. And you have more than any other hero, my son. Whole galaxy of worlds built on the terrors in your heart. I showed you 3, but there are thousands. People think that you are the hero of humanity. They strive to be you, but look at what you are without my help. The dark nights are the real you, Bruce. I plucked the ones that I needed, the darkest ones, and I brought them through the window, just like I came through you years ago. Barbatos shows him the battle that the Justice League is going through right now. Stop. Batman calls out, "No, look at me. Please, I don't want to see. Look at me." And Batman calls out, "Please, I give up." And that's when we return to the prison given to our hero. Grandpa Bruce is sitting in his chair and his granddaughter is waking him up. "Grandpa?" "Sorry, Janet, I must have fallen asleep again. Where was I?" "You were at the beginning, silly. You were starting over." "Of course, dear. It starts with a window and a screen, lost in the dark." Then we see where Batman is actually, bound and drained of his life force at the tower, at the center of the dark multiverse. As Bruce is held in the dark multiverse of the battery fueling the darkness, he begs, "Please, no more." Just then 3 Superman clones lift him up, telling him, "Easy now, we're here to save you. And the good news is, we no longer need you." With Superman coming here and becoming the great battery, the Earth is slowly coming within reach. Soon we'll be able to cross over and claim it for ourselves. But we should hurry along to get far away from Superman. It's time to go gently into that good night. Bruce pulls back, taking the glove off of the Batman-themed clone, shouting, "Like hell I am. The real Clark never had any imagination for weapons. If you are his greatest fears of me, then this tech is based off the things that he saw in the Batcave. And I know my own toys well. This gauntlet is called Five-Finger Death Punch, and it's got every color of kryptonite from gold to periwinkle. One makes him sparkly. Another's going to make your flesh dissolve. What I can't really remember is which is which. The question is, how super are you farm boys feeling today?" One of the clones says, "Anything you use will affect your Superman as well. You wouldn't dare." And Bruce stops him, telling him, "You've had me locked up for 30 years. You have no idea what I would do." Bruce then starts shaking his Clark, telling him, "You need to wake up. You're at the center of some raging." But then he stops as the clones push towards him, and Bruce remembers something the dream told him. Call me in the place of the Black Sun. He yells out, calling to Dream to help them, and suddenly, poof. Meanwhile, over the Rock of Eternity, the cosmic center of the multiverse and the home of the great wizard Shazam, Diana, Dr. Fate, and Kendra are holding their own against the Ancient Guardians. And Diana asks, what monsters are these? Dr. Fate tells her that they are the personification of the 7 sins. They should be welcoming them. Something isn't right here. Kendra finishes shooting one of the Guardians, stating, something's wrong? Huge surprise! Diana rides another Guardian as it barrels through the doorway, and Kendra yells that she warned them that coming here was going to be a mistake. Diana then swings her sword down, splitting the Guardian's head in half, stating, by the gods, the only mistake that we can make is not trusting each other. As the Guardian falls, Diana hops off, telling Kendra, I could use the lasso, but you are my friends. Why are you so certain that we will fail? Kendra says that Carter left from here when he ventured into the dark. The nth metal here is probably his mates. But as she goes on, Arthur radios in that they discovered something at his location. There's been a murder at the ancient burial ground of Atlantis. As Arthur walks up to the temple of the first king, Orion, he asks one of the fish what he saw. The fish tells him darkness. Those who came blinded them. Who would do this to the sacred temple? Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke, looks at the glowing glass and he stabs into it, telling him, whoops. Arthur slams his head down, shouting, I told you before, anyone who touches the tomb is banned from Atlantis forever. Slade tells him, go ahead and sue me. I really don't talk to fish. But before you harpoon me, why don't you take a look? Arthur then looks into the hole and he says, gods, a portal? Slade tells him that he can sense the nth metal down there. Time to sink to new depths, huh? Meanwhile, over at Thanagar Prime, Hal messages Diana, telling her that the Eagles have landed. They're en route to meet with the High Ruler to request whatever the nth metal here is. Diana tells him to make sure he gets it at all costs. As the Thanagarian guards walk Hal and Mr. Terrific along with the plastic man-egg, Hal says that he still doesn't understand how he didn't know about this place's existence. Mr. Terrific tells Hal that this is what they call a phased presence. This place exists at multiple places at one time. A voice then calls
Okay, guys, that's my son home. Hopefully you have enjoyed today's stream. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow and all through this week, as it's all going to be demons and angels. Tomorrow we'll be doing something different. I may ink this and get a little bit of colour to this, but hopefully you have enjoyed today's stream. Hopefully you have enjoyed the background playlist. But don't forget to tune in tomorrow, and I will see you tomorrow for some more Darkness and Wings. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I've been Blut084, BLUT084, Art and Games. Every day on YouTube, occasionally on Mixer, but every day and night over on Instagram. Don't forget to tune in later on, because we'll be playing some more Spider-Man PS4 and getting on with the first day of Miles Morales. Tune in later on, guys, or tune in tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.
A screen appears projecting an image of